guys, on the Fortified podcast, I'm sitting with my man Cairns. How you doing, bro?
Good, mate, yeah.
Good, really good, thank God. So, I seen you, the first form of content I seen you was, there was a coach that was just slagging people that have went through a transformation. Why are these people talking about their life and then they're trying to show how good they've done, and this is stupid, it's a stupid trend. And I thought to myself, what a fucking dick this cunt is. He's literally like gone against what marketing is basically, right? So you're showing your transformation, but apart from that, you're also showing people that you've got experience in what you're talking about. And you done a fucking response on the guy, and I was like, you said every single thing I wanted to say. Like, you've proved like what a transformation is. Reading your book and all that, you've been through the fucking trenches, but you understand how to speak it really, really well on social media. I like your content because it's like entertaining, but it's educational as well at the same time. And I like the way you talk like Glaswegian, but you don't talk like a fucking idiot for Glasgow. You speak like somebody that's educated for Glasgow, something you get patter, but you've got a good message. Do you know what I mean? So I really like the content, bro. Let me know about you, your story, who you are. I've read your book, but let's share the audience.
So, I'm just a boy from Maryhill. Spent a long time running for himself.
Right.
Grew up amongst chaos, addiction, violence. And I'd say sort of running away from everything that I was going through. I didn't know how to just sit with my thoughts, feelings and emotions.
Right.
So I was chasing business, fitness, relationships, thinking if I built enough, if I achieved enough, I'd finally be enough. And I think that's where it was. I was always looking for this external validation for who I was. As much as I was like, I struggled with like my family stuff and all that, so I rebelled against their guidance and their support and what they wanted me. I just wanted to kick about my mates. So it's like you're seeking validation in the streets, and then you're seeking validations of probably examples in the streets that are only good for you. I mean, guys selling drugs, guys fighting, guys chasing birds, and then it's, I don't know, you get drawn into that. And I think for years, that was just my life.
Right.
But then, for me, I still say I'm still trying to figure out who me is.
Who is that? No, I mean, same. Nobody's got it figured out.
But I think I'm curious about life today. I'm curious about my addiction, my recovery, my past traumas, my future. Whereas before, that curiosity would make me depressed, anxious, and then I'd have the wee thoughts and feelings that I'm not good enough. And then that was terrible to sit with as well. But for who am I think it's quite easy to put labels on stuff. So I could go, I'm a personal trainer, I'm a coach, I'm an author, I'm a recovering alcoholic. But I think out of all the things I'm most proud of is my recovery. I wouldn't say, I think the book's a beautiful thing, but I wouldn't say like I'm an author. I don't think that's something I would identify with.
You're an author. You wrote a book.
I know, it's mad.
You're a good author, I like it.
But I'd say, like your industry is for our 40s, isn't it? So I think when you're a coach and you're in fitness and you're maybe doing nutrition or you're fighting, I think it's quite easy for us to kind of get to a point where we authoritise the journey, and then I think that naturally draws people in because they feel maybe we're the people that's going to help them. But I don't know, I feel myself more like rather than a leader, more like a mirror. I prefer talking about my experience, and then people can take what they want out of that, rather than, I remember before, like, we did it, this is marketing anyway, but before I used to always just hit pain points. I remember I was making videos, man, when I first started like learning how to be a coach and I was getting good at fitness marketing. One of my mentors at the time was just saying, you need to hit pain points. I remember calling people fat dafties and all that. I was like, are you sick and tired of being a fucking fat dafty? And then I'd go off on a wee one and I was like, probably needs to stop, man. I mean, I feel like that wasn't the right pain point to hit. Because there's maybe people there that are sitting going, I fucking feel like a fat dafty. I was trying to get my message across in a way where I was up here and you're down here.
Right.
And I think what's changed for us over the past 12 months is I've tried to tell stories that's going to encourage identification rather than authority.
So you're aiming to be more relatable.
Aye.
Because you're relatable, aye.
And I think that's just getting people in the door, and then I can hit them with the hard truths.
Right.
Once you build that rapport and you build that relationship and it feels more comfortable. But that stuff still works, and hats off to, I think I just struggled with myself. It was like imposter syndrome, because I didn't feel like an authority because I was still struggling. And then the more I tried to be the authority, the more I started to struggle, the worse I started to feel. Whereas my content, I'd say, over the past 12 months has been more focused on, I'll be honest, it's not came from like a marketing standpoint where if I create this, I'll get this. It's been more like, this is how I feel today, and this is how I'm going to talk about it.
Good, bro. That's actually deep, man. That's actually deep. But you're an authority in physical training, you're an authority in addiction, you're an authority in social media marketing and stuff like that. So there's no imposter sin. You can't really say that, but what I'm taking for that, what you just said is, you prefer to give it more empathetically. You prefer to like share with people.
People can decide for themselves what I'm at, rather than me trying to go, this is who I'm at, this is who I'm at. Because I'm drawn to authorities online. I would look at you in a sense and go, you're an authority with a programme that you run, because I don't see anybody else really doing something that you're doing. So for me, I can go, there's an authority with that. And I feel if I was needing help with fighting and being a fortified man and needing more discipline and how to be more faithful and all that, I'd be like, you're the guy I'm going to go to for that. I wouldn't even think anybody else, because I'm like, well, if this is what I'm needing right now, then this is the person I'm going to seek out. And I think that's what's important, and I try to encourage people who I'm working with as well, is be very mindful who you take advice off of. I've made mistakes growing up where I've took advice off of wrong people and I felt worse because of it. So I remember being in New Zealand at the time, and two of my best mates were there, and they shared a house with each other, we worked with each other, we done everything with each other. But I was going through a time where I was dead suicidal and I didn't know how to open up about it. And I eventually opened up to them, and they just didn't know how to be there for me, which I understand, because they were similar to me, we've done the same stuff. So you're thinking that's going to be your wee circle of trust and that's who you should open up to. And it fucking broke me.
That they couldn't respond?
They didn't give me the response that I needed or what I wanted. And then I struggled to open up even better, so I sort of went into myself. The thing that saved me was my brother, man. I talk about it in the book. I came back for a night shift. Obviously I'd been walking along a motorway, and I just had these thoughts, I wanted to take my own life. I didn't know where I was going or what I was doing, but in my head I'm like, maybe I should just throw myself off this bridge, maybe I'll just throw myself in front of a truck, maybe I'll just go and hang myself off a scaffold, and I didn't. And I came back, and then I'm in the house, and my phone goes, and it's my brother. And me and him didn't really have a relationship at the time, we weren't really talking. So the fact that my phone blew up and I seen his name, and I answered it, and we were just chatting, it was just like ordinary, like, you up to how's things been and all that, and he must have just said something in my voice, and he just stopped and he's like, Charles, you alright? And as I went to respond to it, I just broke down, man. And then I've got a fucking hounding cry as well, so I was like, ugh, and then I hung up because I was like, I was just out of control, I just lost it and my emotions were just too much. And he phones me back, and then I answer, and I go again, I went fuck, so I had to hang up again. And then he texts me, he's like, just get yourself together, wee man, just when you're ready. He said, I'll be here, like, just phone me back. And I got myself together and I phoned him back. And rather than him tell me what to do or fill me with his worries, he just got me talking about my future.
Oh man.
And I hadn't really spoke about my future, because in my head at the time I'm like, I don't want to be here. So I'm not planning ahead. I mean, I'm in the past, I'm reliving every bit of trauma, everything I've been through, and my brother's just asking us where I want to be in life. And I'm saying I want to get back into Australia. I had a 3-year ban at the time. He's like, when's that up? And he says that's up in 2019, I can reapply for visas. He's like, what are you going to do from now till then? I was like, I don't know. He says, why don't we start planning it? And then he started recommending books I should read and all that, and one of the books he told me to read was Lost Connections by Johann Hari. It's a book about depression, and it's this guy's journey for his experience with depression. And it's amazing how he's just wrote a book about this, because all he's doing is sharing an experience for what he went through. And he just went on like a journey of what is depression, and he was going and visiting these tribes all over the world and seeing how they interacted with each other and seeing what their communities were like and why depression is depression. And then he was going into the pharmaceutical companies and all that, and he was studying the antidepressant tablet and what does it take for a tablet like this to make it to market. And then he was talking about the placebo effect and how they got 100 people in one room, 100 people in another room, and they gave that 100 people a sugar tablet and gave that 100 people the antidepressant, and they got the exact same result.
Aye.
And then also that makes it to market. So what he was talking about and how he broke down depression was a lot of it is your environment. So it's environment based. So depending who you're spending your time with and who you're interacting with and who you're opening up to and who you're connecting to is going to depend on how you feel. So if I'm surrounding myself with people that don't have any purpose, don't have any passion, don't have any meaning, don't have any ambition, then there's a good chance I'm going to feel like that as well. And I think I was just always one of the boys that just did want something different. I just didn't have the right people around about me to guide me, to support me, or even hold me accountable. So that phone call with my brother was just life-changing, man.
Brilliant, man.
Because it opened my eyes to all these possibilities of recovery and something different. And then that's what I was writing in the books. I started running and all that, and I was listening to David Goggins, and then I just loved his whole outlook on just getting up and getting after it. And it didn't, it worked for a small period of time, but then I went, right, I'm getting after it too much here. Doing like fucking triple training sessions. It got to the point I was actually patching responsibility, so I'm like taking time off work. Well, I don't feel great today, and I'm running 15k, just because I'd rather run than go to work scaffolding. I'd rather go and bury myself with, because I had control of that, I had control with how much pain I could put myself in, but then I'd go into work and I'd feel dead reactive. Somebody says something that I don't like, and then I'm like, you don't even fucking know what I'm going through. I'm fucking reading books, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm trying to work out myself. You're trying to take the piss out of me and all that. And that was my close pals, you know what I mean? And they didn't understand the journey, but I didn't know how to express it in a way where I could sit them down and talk about like where I was going to go and what I'm going to do. I think they just thought, you're still the same as us, mate. And then I think the only thing I could do was remove myself from that situation. And then that's what I done. I eventually got myself back to Australia back in 2019, and that's when my sobriety journey sort of started. For that phone call to my brother, and then talking about stuff, and then realising the impact that drinking drugs has had on my life up to that point, and then try to get sober myself by running, training, listening to books, podcasts, reading, and try to interact with the right people. But I was that guy who started getting like wee bits of philosophy and getting good at reading stuff and saying it back, but I'd be fucking saying it to the wrong people in a kitchen at 4 a.m.
Same after that.
So I'm like, what's going on here? I'm making myself sound good, but in amongst the wrong people. People that don't understand the message, but maybe go, he talks a certain way and all that, and that's quite mad. But I went to Alcoholics Anonymous in 2019, so I arrived in Sydney October 2019, got my visas done, got back into a new college course, studying to be an electrician, and then 2 months later I was in Alcoholics Anonymous in January. And it's mad to say, look for the similarities, not the differences. And I went into a meeting, and there was a guy from Glasgow, and he stood up and he was talking, and he's been there for years and all that, and he was talking about his recovery and his behaviour that led up to him eventually coming to Alcoholics Anonymous and getting help. And he was talking about like drink driving and what a truck half at work and all that sort of stuff. But he had like pure shitty trainees on, a mad scabby leather jacket, and I'm sitting judging him. That's all. I couldn't think anything else other than, right, I can hear his Glasgow accent, we bit of a twang in it. Well, that's trainees are bogging, man. So I'm not looking for any, but I didn't have anybody to sort of encourage me or give me guidance in AA at that point. I had family back home though, and I had mates and cousins that were in recovery. And my dad was 13 years sober, and I think he might be about 10 years sober at the time. And the only reason I went to a meeting was because he was talking to me on the phone about stuff. But 2 weeks later, COVID hit, and then all these meetings got shut down anyway, and everything went online, so I just went back to doing my own thing. And it felt good for a wee while. Like everything felt class, and I was able to just assert routine. I was a creature for habit, man. So see, building stuff, writing stuff, creating stuff, I'm going to get up at this time. I'm going to have my eggs, I'm going to have my coffee, I'm going to have my shower, and I'm going to get to work. And I became disciplined with it, to the point I was obsessed.
And a routine?
Aye, but it's mad though, because my morning routine had to have some degree of difficulty. So it was like pure David Goggins stuff, military stuff, but then I started getting to the point where I was tired with that, and why does everything need to be so hard? Why does everything have to be so difficult? And then when I'm at the day with my morning routine, is like, see if I can just get up an hour early, have my shower, have my coffee, let my dog out, go to work 15 minutes early and do my prayers before I go in. That's simple for me. So there's a calmness to my morning routine now. But back then it was like everything needs to be hard.
Let's go to war.
Everything, let's go to war, which I understand. I think there's a mindset for that for me in certain times of the day. So I depending what the pressure is, I deal with it alright, but what I've realised is my morning routine needs to be peace. And if, well, you know yourself, man, we're somebody's with similar backgrounds, when you've spent your entire life around chaos, it's like your central nervous system craves it. So I was looking for peace in places that were only providing chaos. That was my entire life. Mm-hmm. And then when I finally get peace in my life, I confuse it with boredom. So sometimes you sit there and I thought, oh, there's peace in my life, and I'm like, I'm bored.
You're thriving.
You're thriving for chaos, and I've seeked it in relationships, I've seeked it in work, I've seeked it out wherever, and I'm having to get better at that now, where I'm actually trying to be alright sitting in the boredom. So a guy says it to me in a meeting, so I'm just bored. That's peace. And then he explained it to me, man, I was like, alright, it doesn't make sense. Because I'm still in that mindset of being restless and irritated and discontent. And it's like, I've got a life most people could only dream of. I've had experiences that people have never been through. And I'm still sitting there like, I'm bored. And I think it comes off the back of maybe just me having me moments of lacking gratitude.
I was just going to say that there.
And you know yourself, like, see, sometimes you sit down and you say, like, I think, maybe it's just a human condition, or maybe how I brought up, but my default setting looks for the negative. So before anything positive comes at the back of my life, I'm always like, everything's shit first. And then
sceptical something's going on.
So it's like, I'm always, this is going to fall apart, and this isn't going to work. And it isn't until obviously I go through that, I can then overcome it. But my first thought is never like, let's just fucking go and do this and everything's going to be amazing, it's all going to be hunky-dory. My default setting is this is not going to work.
Would you think that's came through just your experience?
Just like you used to say earlier with imposter syndrome, I don't even think I really know what imposter syndrome really is, but it's quite easy to throw that word around.
That's you finding a negative to it, you know what I mean? You're putting a negative on that word authority, on yourself. But I think you're an authority. I've watched you, I'm talking to you, I've invited you here because you're an authority. I see you as a massive authority, so maybe I think
it's fear, maybe, because even like me and you will have similar experiences for growing up, and similar experiences with business, and similar experiences with relationships in life. So I'll identify with that, no bother. But I would still look at you as like, he's elite, man, he's up there, he's like in BKFC, he's got the FORTIFIED programme, and then I see all your marketing, so it's not like I look at that and try and compare myself. I'm drawn to it in a sense where I'm like, I'd feel like you're a leader and I'm just that soldier looking.
See, funny enough, actually, your content, that is just I'm saying that in total respect. I look at you, I look that you've done social media marketing and done online coaching, speaking to everybody there for longer than me. I've been doing it a year and a half, and I'm struggling. I'm trying to play the game and I don't really know what I'm doing. But you've went through it longer, you've got more skin in the game than me. I like your content more than mine as well, because I like the way that you talk and that. See, coming from a point of always being negative and all that, are you still like that now? Is that the way you think every day? Is that right? I'm really shocked at that.
So I think it's mad though, because it isn't until obviously I have a lot of interactions with people and it is on a one-to-one basis, especially in the gym, like, because people will see social media chat and then they'll see chat who just kicks about his day-to-day life, and it isn't until people actually sit and talk to me and they go, fuck's sake mate, there's like a calmness with you. Like how you talk and how you philosophize things with your life and your experiences and stuff you've been through, whereas sometimes people see the glimpses of things on social media and it's like as you say, kind of authority, and I'll still be sitting there going, this happened to me all day, this is how I feel, this is what I was going through. So my hands and knees with life, man, and I have wee periods that my addiction, in a sense, is what I would tie to. I still try and separate my addiction and my mental health. So like with depression and anxiety, as well as being somebody that suffers from alcoholism. So I'm still early learning everything. I'm early recovery. I don't have it all figured out. I still go through the programme. So as much as I've went through a 12-step programme the first 8 months of sobriety, I'm going through it again. Then I'm also helping somebody else go through that. But at the same time, it's like I'm relearning stuff because I'm getting to go through it again and again and again. So with me, if I don't have structure, if I don't have my programme, if I don't have routine, if I don't have my sober circle and I'm left to my own devices, then that's when I start to have depression and anxiety, and I start to isolate myself and all that, and I start to go into myself. But see, the more I'm around good people, see, like even coming here and talking to you and all that, and starting to feel, that feels comfortable for me, you know. But see, before, when you first asked us and all that, and I'm like, not a chance, man.
He's going to say something.
He's going to ask me questions I can't answer.
But see, I am who I am, and I speak how I speak, but obviously, like me saying something, you're fat or whatever, you're a pussy for smoking weed, I'm not judgmental, I'm trying to get a point across. So I'm not going to, if I see somebody smoking, I'm not going to go, you're a pussy, I'm going to actually say, look at me, that's probably not good for you. And I can't come online and speak about weed and go, maybe you should do it, maybe you shouldn't do it. I need to have a bit of firmness about the message, because people's not going to resonate with me and listen to me, do you know what I mean?
Do you know what it feels like when I see you talking about these things? Is, to me, it feels like you're talking to you, like a version of you. That was my experience when I was saying like fat daft and this. I was over 100 kilo at one point. There's a photo of me that I've put up a few times on social media, and it's like 6 in the morning. I'm sitting on the edge of a couch eating a tub of Ben and Jerry's before I go to work. And my mate snapped a photo and he's captioned it on Snapchat going, "Fat girls love ice cream," and it's just my belly rolls and my tits, and I had this big shitty beard and my hair was off on it at the time. Oh, it's horrendous. See, when I show people that photo, they go, "Mate, you look like as if you're in your fucking 50s. Compared to, I mean, I looked all dumb fuck. That's me deteriorated with terrible habits, with nutrition, training, lifestyle. I just stopped caring about myself. And you know yourself, like, see when you stop caring about yourself, you start to feel a certain way, you start to look a certain way. And people can see that you've just gave up. And then you feel like you've just gave up. What's the point?
That's the fight there, bro.
And I think that's where most men, especially our generation, our age, boys are big to school by. Even the boys that are the same age as me, and I bump into them in the street and they have the wee conversation with you, so they're putting the feelers out with me, I'll need to like, get into the gym and all that, and maybe need to talk to you about the meetings and all that, and they look fucked. But it's not my place to kind of go, you're fucked. But I will send a wee message going, listen bro, it's good to see you earlier. If you ever want to talk to me, if you ever want to go for a coffee, I'm here. I'm trying to just be that shining example today, because the guy that got me sober did that for me. He wasn't getting paid for anything, I mean it was voluntarily. It's just, that's what I love about recovery. Nobody's taking you through the programme and getting paid for it. Nobody's being there for you and getting paid for it. Similar to what you're doing with this gym and helping the wee guys and lasses that are coming through here, is you're being that shining example. All you're doing is putting a wee bit of light on their darkness and showing them the possibilities and opportunities. And there's a lot of adults out there that need that as well.
Well, I was just going to say, see in Glasgow, I've travelled a lot, right, and I think particularly Glasgow, maybe Scotland, but Glasgow in general, people got an armour. People have always got this armour and they're maybe scared to say things. I struggle with myself maybe, like this, not being a hard man, but just having this armour, no opening up to people. I think Glasgow specifically has got that, because it's a tough town, it's a tough place, you know what I mean, came for toughness. I think I'm quite good at getting into somebody's armour. I ask the right questions. I'm not talking about my coaching part, but just in life. See, if I see somebody kind of struggling with being too sensitive or whatever, I like to ask the right questions. I like to go deep with somebody right away. But at 4 in the morning taking Charlie, I'd be like, mate, what's your purpose in life? How are you feeling with your mum and dad? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I try to get into them. Maybe not the right time, but I shouldn't have been taking fucking drugs at that time myself, you know.
I think that's what you had to go through, though.
Oh, aye.
And I feel that as well. I'm dead mindful when I talk in meetings as well, because I love drinking, I love taking eggies. I don't think there's anybody in the planet that didn't take a neck and go, don't really enjoy this feeling. I'm fucking hugging strangers on a couch like this going, bro, we're going to be best pals for the rest of our lives. I love that state of euphoria, but that's the madness when you take drinking drugs at such a young age. You're so dependent on that for an experience. So if I can only connect to another human being in a pub or in a kitchen at 4 a.m, then my values are all out of whack, because I'm dependent on drink to give me my confidence and my self-esteem and the ability to connect to another human being. And then this is what I noticed in recovery, me becoming worse as well. When you strip the drink and drugs away from me, I'm left with me. And I'm having to rebuild my self-esteem and my confidence and my security and my ability to connect to another human being. And thank God, man, I had boys and lasses in the rooms of recovery guiding me and supporting me and encouraging me, make me feel that all this has been inside me all along. It's just sometimes, it's just society in it, man. I'm manipulated in a sense where hard times in it, something bad's happened, let's go and have a drink, something good happened, let's go and have a drink, rained off work, let's go and have a drink, heated off work, that's what it's happening in Australia, it's too hot, can't work, can't work. So everything was evolved around that, and it's that drink party culture, and it's escapism, man. And then see me in recovery, especially early recovery, having to just sit there with my own thoughts and my own feelings and my own emotions. I'm still at this today, and then I'm like, I actually can't drink on this. I need to just sit there and feel how I'm feeling, but I'll always open up. People think, I don't know, for outside looking in, especially with a lot of people that are coaching on it, they'll maybe see success and they don't understand success. So they'll see success as that you go out there, you train, you work hard, you tunnel vision your goals, and you get what you want out of life. Whereas my success is came on the back asking for help. So my greatest attribute is being able to ask for help today as a man, not just with business stuff, not just with relationship stuff, but sobriety stuff and mental health stuff. I'm triggered in a sense where as soon as something bad happens in my life, I phone Brian or phone one of the boys or speak to my family. Whereas before I never done that. And it's mad since I've started asking for help, all these things have started to go right in my life.
You ask for help and you're also open to offering help.
Aye. It has that ripple effect in it.
Aye, 100%.
I'm only doing for somebody else what somebody done for me. And that's a ripple effect of recovery. That's my 12-step programme. Your step 12 is you get to get back, you don't get to hold on to it. Right. And that's what I love about the programme. As soon as it's finished, you get to 12. Your 12 is, see my sole purpose in recovery. See if I stay sober a day, I can help another alcoholic. But see the moment I start drinking,
aye, you take that away.
I take that away.
And you take away the feeling of being able to help.
And I imagine somebody come to a first meeting and maybe before I was maybe going to be there and be that responsible person, I'm like, sorry mate, not going to make it. And what I do today, my step 12 is, I'm not really part of a group anymore in today's service in Alcoholics Anonymous, but I take a lot of people to meetings. And that makes me feel good. I mean, I'm not getting paid for that. I'm one of these boys that struggles to separate my ego from like handing over. So who's guiding me at the end of the day? Am I self-serving? Or it's not like you're doing God's work, you know what I mean? We don't get to play God, but my ego is self-serving. So I like clothes, I'm going to go and buy trainees and all that. I'm going to go and validate how I look, and it's that feel-good thing in it. Or I'm going to go and chase this relationship, or I'm going to go on holiday, I'm going to go here. Whereas for me, I get more fulfillment just being there for somebody else. Selfishly, makes me feel good.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to say this about your book, right? I think I'm going to hang about you and get coffees and you actually, right? I resonated a lot with your book. See that full thing you said there? I said that for the first time ever last night. I said that thing you said about the first time ever last night. So this is like a gym, it's free for kids and stuff like that. I've never done it before, never taught kids for free, and the whole reason I wanted to do it was because a lot of mums and that can't afford training, right? Now I done a session, it's the second week, in the last session I got them all together, there's 15 wee boys here, and I says, look guys, that was the best session I've ever done in my life. He's all done well, etc, etc, etc. And I went to my wife and I went, do you know how good I feel doing that? Do you know like fulfilled maybe? And like, I'm not doing it for myself to feel like that.
Aye.
It's just a byproduct of me doing
100%.
good in the world. But my goodness, mate, I feel amazing. Somebody said to me today, are you going to turn the gym into like a way to make money as well, mate? You're going to try and like, put classes on that? But logically, I probably should do that. Do you know what I mean? But I says, no, I don't want to. I just want this to be a kids' gym. I just want to help Ainsley. Fucking leave it empty all day. I don't give a fuck. I just want to help these kids. See the feeling of that, bro. It's so beneficial. But I'm a Muslim, right? Charity is a very big thing in Islam. And I never grew up with it. I never grew up with it being a thing to do, you know what I mean? So after Ramadan you need to give to charity, it's like important. Now, you're doing God's work, I think. You're not playing God, you're doing God's work. God's working through you to help, any form of help. So if you're like giving a good compliment to somebody or you smile to somebody, do you know what I mean? Or you're giving it something for free. But see the feeling of it, like, it's better than any, like I could make £1 billion tomorrow and I wouldn't get that feeling if I'm making it financially. It's like proper feeling. It's like, and somebody says to me, I don't want to get into Islam too much, but my friend who's a Muslim, he was talking about money, and I used to make money illegally, do you know what I used to make, and then probably hurting people in that way, some form. And I was speaking to him about making money one way, and he said, I'm against that, I don't want to ever do that. And I says, aye. And he says, I'm trying to build my empire in the afterlife, not in this world. Now, that for me was deep, because I'd never thought of it like that, because I believe in an afterlife, do you know what I mean? I believe this life that we've got, 75 years or whatever, is just a wee footstep in what our soul's going to go through. We've got to be tested on everything we do in this life. So, I think about that more now, like what am I doing in the day that's going to affect me and if I do get to an afterlife, do you know what I mean? Am I helping people rather than taking from people? And I never had that stuck in my head, and the giving and the charity was important to do, do you know what I mean? I never grew up with it. But as a Muslim, I think it's kind of firmed it in me a wee bit, because there's like a guide on what to do, do you know what I mean? So like talking to you now, like, I feel as if you're giving me some charity because you're helping build my content and stuff like that, do you know what I mean? And I'm also helping you build your content, do you know what I mean? And there's no money given, there's no financial gain on it, we're just helping each other and also get a good conversation with it.
I think that's important, it's giving without expectation.
Aye.
And this whole thing that there's a selfishness to everything, it's impossible to escape it. Aye. So even if I say to people in recovery, like even if you're just, especially if I'm taking somebody through the programme or somebody that's just gone to their first meeting, there's no expectation with that, other than I just want to see you every day, mate. Aye. But I get to feel good, so there is a selfishness in I am doing this because I know how it's going to make me feel as well. But it's more important that you get recovery off the back of this. But I would never, even if they go and they fuck it, I mean, it's like they go there and I can't bar for this and they fuck it, that's been my experience as well, and I struggled with that in the beginning because I didn't know how to be there for people with that expectation. I was
with the expectation for you.
So I had a boy that I grew up with, Richie, and he's been in and out of the system for about 18 years and struggles. He's addicted to everything. I mean, he's on the hard stuff as well. But he go to the jail and he was in a hostel down in Treston, and then I'd go down and I'd pick him up and I'd take him to meetings and then I'd take him back. So I loved that as well. And then he was in my house and all that, and we were spending time with each other, and I was getting him food shops and I was just making sure he was alright. But then there was times I wouldn't hear from him for a few days, and then I drove past him one time in Postal and he was out his fucking nut, and I've seen him arguing with somebody, and then literally 3 years later, it's like maybe 2 in the morning, my phone's blowing up and it's fucking him, and the resentment I had. But I was only 6 months sober, but I resented him doing that to me. But I'm early recovery though, so I was comfortable enough trying to do God's work, but then when it wasn't going my way, I was like, fuck you, mate. I mean, I struggled with that big time. It felt like a slap in the face, whereas where I'm at today is I can set boundaries with recovery. What I've realised is I can only guide people and support them. I actually can't fix them, I can't make them do anything. And the way my books went is it's made a lot of people, like strangers, just message. You probably experienced this as well. Strangers just sending you big heartfelt messages. Mm-hmm. Some of them really hard hitting, like I don't want to be here, I want to take my own life. Then I had an instance where a couple of weeks ago I took a lassie to a meeting, and then I dropped her off. She had a fucking mission away as well, so it was like went out, picked her up, and then dropped her into the meeting. I went in there with her, and then my cousins and that were there, so it was like a lot of lasses, like good lasses were in that group, so I knew she would like, get numbers and get that connection, and she did, and it was beautiful. Then I took her back, but then a week later my phone blew up. It was a Saturday night, I'm in the gym, and she was just grieving, saying that she wants to take her own life. And I was just letting her talk and letting her vent, but once she calmed down a wee bit, man, I had to just remind her that, listen, I can only share an experience on this. I'm not the guy that cures this or sorts this or fixes it. I can only be an example for my own recovery, and then hopefully by me getting well, other people can get well. But I'm happy to go to meetings with you. I'm happy to take you to therapy. I'm happy to go wherever you want to go to get help. But you also need to realise that I'm not the guy that fixes this. And that's what I struggle with. Sometimes people put
too much pressure
on me to sort things out, or maybe he's got the answers and I'm like, I don't. I'm still somebody today who struggles massively with life, but I'm fortunate enough to be around good people where I can get support, and I think that's important. Like, you know yourself, we can't do anything by ourselves. I mean, take away your family, take away your work colleagues, take away your mission. If you're just you, that's difficult.
Right. Need a purpose.
We need a purpose.
Mate.
And the more people struggle with these thoughts, feelings and emotions and isolate themselves, it's like sitting on the couch thinking everything's going to be alright. You're not doing anything to get off the couch and make it better.
Need action.
And I was talking to a boy the other day and he was struggling with stuff. And I says, if you walked out this gym and fell fucking 20 foot down a manhole, what would you do? I said, it's alright praying and meditating and getting that connection with God. But I says, if you're sitting there praying hard enough or thinking, please God, just fucking let everything be alright, and then taking the actionable steps to make it alright, then you're going to die in that manhole. Because it's going to get to a point nobody's coming to save you, and you're going to have to fucking drag yourself out of there. You're going to have to put some sort of work in amongst everything else that you're doing. I love prayer, I love meditation. It gives me that grounded sense of connection. It makes me feel good as well, but ultimately, actionable steps. I can't pray to feel better. So my prayers in a sense need to be guided for other people. It can't be self-serving, so I can't go, I need more money. I need to you never get it, right? But it needs to be like, just let me be useful today. Right. If there's anybody struggling, put them on my path. If I can help them, I'll help them. Hope I don't piss anybody off today. And then I'll just kind of finish that, amen, and I walk in. But then I walk in, I'm all hyper on it, I'm turning off cunts' treadmills and taking the piss at them. But if that's what God wanted, that's what He wanted. But it's just I try to have an impact. But before I used to pray for all the wrong reasons, and I was doing that in early recovery. I mean, praying to advance my career, and it was all materialistic, self-serving stuff. Whereas now it's more like I pray for my family. Pray for the ones who I'm helping in recovery, pray for the guy that helped me, pray for his family, pray for my mum, my dad, everybody, and then my clients know that. And then myself, I'll always just finish with that wee bit for myself.
If you've got time, stick a wee 5 minutes in helping me.
That's it, man.
See what you're saying there though, belief alone is not enough. I think this is in the Bhagavad Gita, mate, I read it's a Hindu book. Belief alone is not enough. Faith is belief in action. So belief alone is not enough. You can't just believe something, you can't believe God's going to help you at all. You need to apply faith, you need to apply action to that belief. Like, I want to do good in the world. I want to do good in the world, sit in my arse, I want to do good in the world. But I need to go and do good in the world for it to work. So I need to have faith that can work out. It's the same with everything. I think faith is like so powerful, mate.
Well, what's that? I don't know what it's in, but I don't know if it's in the Bible. I think my mate shared this years ago in a reel as well. He was talking about the man in the flood. Have you heard that story? So there's a flood hitting this guy's wee town, and he's in his house, and it's came up to the point where it's like windy level. So there's like people going, you need to get this flood. He's going, no, sorry, God's going to save me. I'm a man of God. Like, God's going to save me. And I'm like, you're mad, so fuck off. And he's like, please God, please save me from this flood. Next minute a wee boat comes in, a couple of people on it, no, listen my man, jump on this boat, or you're going to die. And it's like, it's alright, God's going to save me. Please God save me from this flood, so he drive away. Before you know it, man, he's on the roof of his house. He's praying again, like, please God, like, this flood's going to take me away, man, but please save me. A helicopter comes by, drops a ladder down, like, mate, jump on this ladder, or you're going to die. And like, that's alright, God's going to save us. Helicopter drives away, floods came up, drowned the wee guy, wakes up, man, and he's at the gates of heaven, and he's fucking fuming, man, he's raging, and he's like, God, the fuck, he said, I prayed and prayed and prayed for you to help me and save me, and you didn't. He's like, what are you talking about? I sent you a motor, I sent you a boat, I sent you a helicopter. So it's like, the opportunities were there, and that's the madness. So we live in a society where we're conditioned to just see obstacles rather than opportunities.
Right.
Whereas you'll have somebody like yourself who, where there's obstacles, you'll see opportunity, you'll see ways to overcome it, improvise, adapt. Like, you'll make good of that situation, that's the type of man you're. I mean, make men fight again, you're a fortified man, let's go to war, and you're faithful. So all these things are actionable as well as mindful.
Aye, 100%.
Whereas we live in a society where it's like, it's too difficult, it's too hard, nothing's going to happen. But when they're on their hands and knees with life, they're praying.
Aye.
And when they're maybe doing a weekender for their behaviour, and they're like, fuck man, please God, get me out here, I'll never do it again. Next weekend, back in. So
I like obstacles, but I thrive on them.
It's challenges, isn't it? We need to be challenged, and you know, like when you're not challenged in life, you start to go into yourself a wee bit.
Comfort zone.
Aye. And you're like, losing that motivation, losing that spark. Everything you're doing, even for like these weddings and all that, setting up this charity, I don't think people realise the effort that goes behind the scenes to create stuff like this and build stuff and be a shining example for other people. And then as you say, it's like you run an online coaching programme and then you do a lot of marketing for that. But it's like people are drawn to what you create, but you experience this as well. As soon as you put a price tag on something, they don't see the value in it anymore.
It's a hard
and it's a hard one because you're also like, I am a nice guy and I don't mind helping me. If it's a financial issue, let's maybe meet somewhere. Like, what can you commit to? What can you pay? And maybe I'll remove something for the service rather than me giving you all my time for that price, because it's no fair that somebody pays the full amount and then I'm getting you it for less but getting you the same service. But maybe we could take a few things out, and I think just try to get people on a phone call to talk to about certain stuff like this. Like, aye, this is the help I can get you, but also this is the time that it takes.
Well, your time needs to be valuable. Your time is valuable. You can't get in a restaurant and fucking eat a big dinner and go, aye, cool mate, I thought that was free or whatever.
That's it. Show me where you spend your money and I'll show you what you value.
Exactly. I done a sales call before somebody, and the boy came on the day and he was like, oh, mate, I need your programme, I need it, and I says to him, there's the lowest price, that's not a lot of money my programme, mate, to be honest with you, really affordable. There's the lowest price, but I can't afford it, and I was like, soon. But I think really he just wanted to talk to me. So 40 minutes I just sat and spoke to the guy. He's like, well, what can I do with this, what can I do with that? I was like, just do this. In my head I'm thinking, right, this guy's never going to buy this, so it's probably not what he wants, or he needs it but he can't afford it or whatever. And I just gave him as much time as I could, because I think a lot of people, like being a coach, it's funny, like people see your content, even yourself, and go, right, he's going to just speak like this, which he's speaking on the camera to me now, he's going to give me this personal time. Which, I do get that, but no, this is a profession, this is how we provide for my family, do you know what I mean? It is a business, and I hate money, mate, I'm a mad hippie, I fucking hate money, but you need it, do you know what I mean? You need it to survive, you can't get on without it. But in Instagram or social media marketing, people just expect it to be free, which is, it's a mad kind of conflict. I don't, because I understand, like, if I speak to somebody that's got value or an authority, it's a joke.
Yeah, because in their head is like, why do I need to pay money to talk to somebody?
Why do I need to pay money to talk to you? Do you know what I mean?
What do you mean, man?
I understand, but
it's time.
I've got like fucking 20 odd years I've been a combat experience, like an experience, sorry, so my time with that is worth a wee bit of value. But I don't judge people for that, I don't judge anybody, they can think whatever they want. I do like helping people for free though. Like, I was in the jail in Spain and I came home, right? And every Sunday I was training, because I fucking love the gym, so every Sunday I'm training hard, messaged all my pals and they're all hungover. So I was like, this is fucking boring, man, training myself. So I went online and went, right guys, I'm going to go a hill walk on Sunday morning, 6 in the morning. If you're struggling with drinking drugs, come on to it, right? And I done this every week. We went hill walks, we went fucking cold water dips, and it was brilliant, mate. Brilliant, fucking honestly, I met great pals through it. One of my pals who's a fighter, really close to him now, he was coming on with him, and I had to train on Sundays for my fights, so I couldn't really miss it, lads, I can't really keep this up. He's kept it going, so every Sunday, for the last year and a half, every Sunday he goes into a cold water dip, 60 odd boys go in there, and it's fucking brilliant. I drive down and do it myself.
Nice, I've seen that.
Aye,
Brilliant.
Bobby McVitie, I'm going to get him on, he's a fucking fantastic human being. That's what I'm saying, like, he's not taking a penny off that, he's just going out and helping people, and he's went through a mad story, like, he's went through a trauma that I'd crumble, and I'm not lying, I'd crumble, and he's just big smile on his face, helping people, being a man, like, he's a fortified man, if anybody's a fortified man.
Do you not find that, like, people that are usually been through the most have got the most to give?
Well, it's
like I've experienced this, and I'd like to think that my mission now is hopefully near a man or woman needs to experience this, and I think we need people like that. I think what's happening now though is I see a generation where things are too protected. I think you've got a great message because you're actually bringing Waynes in here to not just fight, but what's going on in our life, what's actually happening here.
That's the main thing.
It's alright coming in here and throwing jabs and throwing kicks and rolling about, but what do you want to be in life? I think that's important. It's not just like learning to fight, it's just learning to live. Yeah. Whereas the ways I see most of the generation is they're all wrapped up in cotton wool and they're too protected and they're becoming worse off because of it.
No, they are. Yeah. I know when I was younger.
Aye, that's what I'm saying, it's new. So I've got a lot of my wee cousins and all their wee mates, and it's mad, right? So I've had suicidal thoughts as like a young, I remember being maybe about 14, 15 and being on the drink and drugs and like feeling like I don't want to be here. And this day and age I feel it's just rife, man. See the amount of wee guys that are riddled with anxiety and depression and suicidal thoughts, and when you sit and ask them what you've been doing, they're like, nothing. I'm like, do you go out? Just something like nothing. So it's like they're isolating themselves and they're in the house and they're playing their computer and they're playing their telly and they're scrolling, and then that comparison's a FIFA joy, you know? And they just don't feel great, they don't feel what to be in life. What I've noticed with the content I've been putting out, I've had about at least 100 wee guys, all 15 and 16, just asking me advice on their future, feeling like they've just left school and all they're doing is smoking weed and drinking and hanging about the streets, and they don't know, they're actually getting anxiety and stressed about their future.
Well, the weed and when we are younger, the drugs and that's going to cause it, because your brain chemistry's getting affected, your serotonin's getting affected and stuff like that. But see in your book, Running From Me, I read this, I'm going to speak about it in a wee minute, fantastic book, that's why I've asked you to come on. See in your book, you had one friend that got stabbed to death. I remember that story, so remember at the same time I get stabbed twice really badly, one of them nearly died, like fucking terribly bad. Now, that was a part of their culture, I'd say. Like, knife crime was mad, it was like 2004, 2005, knife crime was heavy, and it was like the murder capital of Western Europe at one point. Now the Waynes are more wrapped up in cotton wool, and as a parent I enjoy that. I don't want my Waynes to go and get fucking stabbed, you know what I mean, obviously, but there's too much maybe wrapped in cotton wool. And I think it's overuse of technology, over-reliance on technology, like iPads and fucking phones, like a wee weighted phone, that comparison thing. We've fucked ourselves a wee bit with that, because it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. Wee Waynes can't, like, the obesity maybe Waynes, or the negative health effects. They just be sitting on your fucking computer all day, or your iPad, glued to a screen. Like, that's no good. That's something that as a parent, I'm really wary. I don't want my Waynes going out in the street and fucking rumbling, tumbling, obviously. But I don't want them to go out and playing and fucking
amongst nature, wrestling in the gym, fighting.
100%.
And I think that's what I'm starting to see with a few of the young team that are following me now, is I see a lot of them getting into boxing, and I think it's guys like yourself that are setting that example and being fortified and having the young team following you, because they're like, he dresses like me, he talks like me, but he's acting different. And I think that's what's attractive to these wee guys, is they're looking up to people like what I did, is I hung about wilder boys for where I came from. That's where I first got into drugs and gang fighting and stupidity, was through boys that were a wee bit older than me. So they were just that shining example, and that's obviously how they showed you the ropes. But I feel like some of the young team up, because if you just get the right message across online, because that's where they're spending most of their time, then they're starting to make that change. You'll probably find that you'll probably have wee guys messaging every other week going, listen mate, I've not signed up for any of your programmes, but your videos have got me moving again, and I get stuff, I love that, because I'm like, sometimes you feel like stuff that you're doing or stuff that you're creating, my default sense like, this was a wee bit self-serving. I only created this video because of how I was feeling.
Right.
And then 2 weeks later, some of you guys maybe message going, mate, see that video you put up 2 weeks ago? Like that at home, and it's got me doing this and got me doing that. And I'm like, wow, man.
Good. Well, I like your content because it's honest, it's like raw than me, do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm raw, but I'm rough and all. Your message is talking about your addiction. I'd struggle to say the word addiction. I've got a diary, mate, right? And I write all the time. And I remember writing, I'm struggling to write this word addiction. And then I wrote it and I was like, I was addicted. And I was addicted later on in life. In my 30s, I wasn't addicted when I was younger. I went to the town in a motor. I never used to drink and that, do you know what I mean? But when you talk about that, like, I personally feel I'm resonating with you, and I think to myself, that's fucking beautiful. So see, and I'm quite about myself now. I can control all these things, and I've found my own system for it. But these wee guys who can't, they're looking at you and going, yeah, man, he's for fucking Mary Hill, I'm for Swindon, he's for down the road for me. He's just like me, but just a wee bit older.
Yeah.
And he's talking about these things that maybe these older guys, this is what I'm really saying this, these older guys when they talk about. So when I was younger, the guys that, I don't know, you'd look up to them, every guys with a fucking Range Rover because they sold 10 grand a week or something, do you know what I mean? You thought they were fucking Tony Soprano. But I said I know role models. They're doing it today and I can't judge, I don't agree with it, I don't want it in my life, I don't want it in my system, I don't want it in my culture, but I don't like the fact that wee boys going to look at that and go, that's the next step for me. I'm going to patch school, I'm going to know to do, I'm going to start selling fucking weed and then fucking heroin and then I'm smuggling drugs and I'm doing all these things. I like that word role model, I don't like that word role model, sorry. I like that, I'd like better examples, influences for the younger generation. Look at you, like this guy's talking about drinking drugs and he's telling me not to do that, so do you know what I like, Chad, I'm going to listen to that. I'm not going to take a drink today. Pals are saying, come on out on a Friday night, let's go get mad with it. Nah, do you know what? I'm going to go and sit in and fucking study or something that you've encouraged them to do. Same with the fighting. I could come out and I'm a big kid, I'm not like that, I'm very humble, right? I like to talk about fighting because it's really good for you. I don't like to talk about fighting because, you win a tournament, you get a belt and that, I've done all that, it's brilliant, but I like to talk about how it forms you as a man. That's the message on fighting that.
You're separating the ego for the fighting, it's no all the madness and bravado and I'm this, I think. Because I seen when you went and fought that boy in BKFC, you were talking about how it's a test for yourself.
Everything's a test.
It's not about like, I'm going to go and rip this fucking guy's head off and all that, it's more like, it's about, am I capable of this?
Mm-hmm.
Can I do this? And the only way you're ever going to know is by taking that actionable step. You can't sit there and think, maybe I'm not good enough, so maybe not try. You're like, no, this is the only way I'm going to know, is by taking this actionable step. Because it's wee guys scheme mentality in it. I grew up thinking, I can fucking do anything. And then I get leathered, and I'm like, bastard. And then it would happen again, because I'd have a few drinks in me and drugs, and I was like, then I'm getting to the point, I'm like, I've been dude more times than I've dude people. Like, what's happening here? But that's just the way it was for me growing up, is it was fear, but in my head I'm like, if I get leathered, it was because I was on drinking drugs.
Excuse for it. But I'm 5'4", mate. I had to learn how to fight. I had to learn how to fight at a fairly young age. I like fighting and all, mate. I don't like talking about fighting outside the street. I'm against that. I think we should be a wee bit more focused on that combat environment. See, like yourself, you're saying you're a young boy. Maybe if you were a young boy and learned how to do that, one, you probably would have protected yourself, but two, you might not even want to get involved in the fight.
Because you know your capabilities.
Should say what you want, do you know what I mean?
It's like, I just say, it's better to be a warrior in the garden and a gardener in a war. So it's like, you know what you're equipped with, you know your capabilities, and that it's built confidence in that area to the point where, like, I don't need to do this. But what I've noticed is recently I went out with a lot of boys I grew up with, and we were in Wonderbar just a week before Christmas, and it was a Christmas night out, and they invited me out. It's the first time I've been out with them like that since I was on drink and drugs and all that. So I was out sober, aye. But we went into Wonderbar, it was mad, so it was at the Lepera Boxing and the BKFC boys, they had their Christmas night out. But I think they had an event the week before, so these boys are like heaps out to there. But some of them were our missus and their girlfriends, but you could see them all at their one table, but it was like people walking by, trying to, I was just watching, see how you just observe everything when you're sober, and how considerate they all were, and they were all laughing and just being nice boys. But then one of my day ones, a boy I grew up with, was just giving me absolute cheek and Wonderbar. And it was just something pure stupid, and I was just about to leave as well, and he just wouldn't leave it. And then he's tried to slap my phone at my horn and all that, and I threatened to smash him in Wonderbar, and he's like, go for it. And I was like, drink I won't. So this is my ego obviously playing at me, like he thinks I'm a fucking dafty now because I don't drink and I don't take drugs and I won't do anything. So I took him outside, and then I gave him another opportunity to kind of like backtrack here. But my head's gone at this point, and he's challenging me, and he's in my face, and he's like fucking this nose to nose going, "Think I'm scared of you or something?" I was like, "But you should be. Like, what about you? There's nobody here, mate. It's just me and you. You're drunk, I'm sober. What do you think's going to happen?" And then he went in again, man. So I had to just shove him at my space. But in my head, I'm like, if he takes one step forward, I'm just hooking him, and that's what happened. But I didn't just hook him. I was tapping him, smashing him, kicking him, spitting on him, volleying him with it. And then I was like, right, what the fuck's just happened here? So my mates have run out the pub and they're like, "Cha." But I've grabbed my hoodie after the bin, I've walked up to my motor, and one of my mates just came with us, and I was like, "You better go and check on him." But after it, my heart rate started to go, and I started to play it out, because I'm like, fuck, Cairns pose, is he alright? If I took that too far, I have took it too far. But then I've like, I shouldn't, in my head I'm like, if I didn't even come out, I had fear and anxiety before I even went there, not because I was going to take a drink or a drug. I had fear and anxiety that this was something that was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen with one of my pals. I thought maybe somebody might say something stupid to me in the toilet or when I'm at the bar, and I don't know how I'm going to react. So that was always in my head. And then that's what's happened. And then when I was talking to my sponsor right after it, this is a boy obviously that took me through the 12-step programme, and I was explaining the situation, man. He was like, wow, man. But I've had a few issues like that leading up while being sober. 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon in a garage, some guy would bounce out his motor and I'd open my door. So it was like pissing the rain, but I've opened my door and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. And I was like, he's walking in between my pump and my door, so I was like, what's going on here? But I didn't say anything. He's went to go to the ATM, and then he's realised it's out of order, and he's took a walk back, so I'm putting my jacket on, and he takes one look at me and he's like, you better move your fucking motor. And I'm like, who are you fucking talking to? He's like, better move your motor. I says, oh what? He says, oh, it gets scratched. And I chased him into his motor, and I went banging on his window. And I'm like, mate, get your fucking window down. And he's like, what? I said, get your fucking window down. He gets his window down. I was like, who are you fucking talking to? He's like, move your fucking motor. Fucking talking to you. And I says, what happens if I don't? I went, I told you, you'll get it scratched. And I spat in his face.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Chad.
And then, so this is like stuff that's still going on in my life. And I'm like, that's no normal. And I know that's no normal. So it's like, you take the drink away from me, you take the drugs away from me. I'm still this insecure, angry wee guy. And that's what I'm working on today. I don't go to meetings because I'm trying to just overcome my obsession with drink. I'm still going to meetings because I'm still trying to learn to be less reactive to life. So when certain occurrences arise, my pride and my ego takes a hit, and I'm sometimes not prepared to let things go. But I just need to make sure that I'm constantly going to meetings and being around the right people and trying to bring peace into my life. What I've realised today though is there's certain environments I just can't go. So I know, like when I went to the gym, I'm not worried about anything. I know when I go to meetings, I'm not worried about anything. It's when I'm out in life, stuff happens.
But a garage is that's a mad example, but going to Wonderbar sober is difficult.
Yeah.
I think because it's an environment, do you know what I mean? It's like, you're going to be sitting with five people under the influence of alcohol, and you know it's hard, it's difficult. I can't step in a pub. I don't step in a pub, I won't step in a pub because I don't enjoy it. I don't really like talking to drunk people when I'm sober, do you know what I mean? I don't miss it or anything. I fucking couldn't pay my bill, you couldn't drink, do you know what I mean? But I don't want to be in that environment. I don't want to be talking to somebody that's mad with it. I don't want to be on the phone to somebody that's
annoying.
It's annoying, but it's also, it's not who I am as well, do you know what I mean? If they want to hang about with me, I'll be like, right, some get on Sunday, do you know what I mean? But I can't get into that environment. It's an environment.
And that's what I realised. I was probably a test, but it's probably a build up of stuff as well, because I overreact. See, the thing is, mate, when when I punched him, I felt calm. I didn't feel adrenaline or that. I felt a calmness before I hit him, and I felt a calmness after I drew him.
You know what I mean?
And then after it wasn't until I was in my motor, my mate, and he's obviously going, "What have you done?" I'm going, "Fuck!" And then that's when it started to hit me, and I was like, "I've done something I shouldn't have done here."
When you
Or that
have
fear.
in that environment as well.
And I was getting myself a doing, and I didn't know if he was alright or no, and I was like, "Mate, you need to go back and check him." But all that played in my head. But I'm a work in progress for the rest of my life. I'm a flawed individual with a lot of past trauma, but it's no excuse for any of that behaviour, and I know that.
Well, that's discipline there. That's you've got discipline, but discipline in that situation. But I think build on discipline isn't just lifting weights, it's also how you think, how you speak, how you react. That's the thing that I would always do, instantly react, and I've had
And then deal with the consequences.
Instantly react. My first time was boom, right on with everybody in the town. I had a name for punching people in the town or fighting people in the town. But now I respond. A response is a reaction after an analysis. So if you've got the time to think, right, he's maybe drunk, he's maybe no meaning this really, take a wee step back, take a deep breath, walk away. Fighting teaches me that as well. Do you know what I mean? Like I've got these pressure situations that I can solve these problems really, really quickly, like that interaction with somebody trying to fight me. I kind of know it's not a danger, I see a threat to me, no, cool, I'll step back. But see, when you said that, you said ego a few times. Do you think that you've got an ego that needs to be controlled, or are you in control of your ego?
I'm still in some sort of unawareness with stuff that I do in the life, because I'm going, right, is this ego driven? Or so usually ego for me is stuff I'm doing that's self-serving. I'm a pleasure seeker. I'm not just addicted to drink and drugs, and I'm addicted to everything. Anything that's going to make me feel good, I'm addicted to it. So training, in a sense, for me is addictive, but in a way where it doesn't just self-serve, it has an impact on people around about me as well. So there's a community aspect to my training, my work, my community, my connection, everything. But stuff like my ego, if I'm pleasure seeking, if I'm in that mindset, I'm going to go and buy this to feel this, I'm going to go and pursue this to feel this. I mean, like firing like lassies and all that as well. So drink, drugs, woman, money, holidays, clays, all this stuff is going to have some sort of ego attached to it, and I'm just trying to be mindful while I'm doing a lot of stuff with you. Do I really need this? Is this worth it? I'm starting to get into a habit of playing stuff out and seeing where it goes, to kind of go, let's go and sit on that for a wee bit.
So you're learning to control your ego?
Aye, because as you say, it's an instant response, man. It's like me having one biscuit. I'm going to have the full pack. It's, who the fuck has one biscuit? I couldn't have one drink. What made me think I was just going to have one biscuit. And it's the same, I'm just going to go to a show and buy one pair of trainees. And I came out with 4 trackies and no trainees.
See, like, I'm in control of my ego, I think. I think about this deeply. I help people with this as well. So, I say this all the time. I read in this book, ego stands for edging God out. So when it's the ego, it's self-centered, it's only on you. But when you're going with the plan of God, or the universe, or whatever you want to call it, you're more focused on the environment, the world, rather than just the individual. And I'm always trying to aim to not be focused on the individual. Somebody said it to me about fighting. They said to me, I don't fight. He trains and all that, spars, he's really good in all that. He says, I don't fight because I don't have an ego. And he's kind of insinuating that I fight because I've got an ego. I don't fight, it's no ego driven. I just fight because I like to test myself. I think it makes me a better man, going through those fight camps, going through all these things. It makes me like I'm a complete man. I'm a better father, I'm a better coach, I'm a better friend, do you know what I mean? Now I think, I'd argue it's his ego that's stopping him from fighting. Because he's scared to take that loss. If he takes that loss, his ego instead of being, fuck doing that, I don't want to do that. Mate, I've won a lot more fights than I've lost. But I don't care if I lose, really. I don't sit and grieve about it, I don't get upset. The last time I cried, physical tears, was 2012, after my first professional loss. Get that wee bitch, I just teared, and it's a fight. Right? Nobody died, nobody got upset, nobody hurt, nobody's injured. And tears are coming at me, because I was like so ego driven. I thought I'd let myself down and that kind of stuff. See now, if I get beat, smile. I go and take a selfie with the guy that beat me. Oh, good mate, let's go and catch up for training. And then in my wee notebook in my head, I just go, right, what lessons did I learn for that loss? And that's it, I move on. Do you know what I mean? So I think like, I'm really in control of ego. I really like to teach people that as much as I can and help people with that. Ego for me is when I'm going away for being a religious man. I like to focus on God. I like to focus on what does God want for me here. Do you know what I mean? What was an example you said there? Like somebody comes in my face and wants to be a hard man, and I'm trying to like deal with that. If I do crack him and knock him out, I'm ego, yes, I've knocked this cunt out here. But if I walk away, I'm doing better work. Do you know what I mean? I'm kind of fulfilling the plan of God because he's not getting injured, and I'm not maybe going to the police or whatever, I'm getting hurt. Do you know what I mean? I'm kind of focused on that ego thing a lot.
I completely agree with that. Even when you're sitting saying the guy that was having his angle, saying that the reason you fight is because it's ego driven, but it's a sport. And I think people should be encouraged, especially young kids in here, testing themselves and fighting and boxing and all that, especially if you're into it for such a young age, then you're stripping back that ego. You know what I mean? It's having some sort of humility in that environment to know that whatever happens, it's no the end of the world, man. I'm not going to win everything, but I'm going to encourage myself and others to at least jump on that pursuit of greatness. I mean, aspire to be something different.
And that's no ego, that's purpose, isn't it? See, like, one of the things that people say when they walk in a gym, leave the egos at the door. So say jiu-jitsu or whatever, you're going down and somebody's choking you and you're fucking angry. So the first time when you do it, you're like, bastard, this cunt's beating me, I don't want to go back. But when you get more experienced in it, you learn how to fight your ego on a jiu-jitsu mat or on a wrestling mat or whatever. It builds a control against it. Do you know what I mean? Even boxing. I get in with people and maybe they're better than me. I don't get upset, this cunt's better than me. I just think, good on you mate, you're very talented, good on you. And I learn from it and I share with them. If I used to when I was younger, when I was 14, 15, a guy beat me, I'd be like, oh fuck's sake, I'm Brian, I should be able to beat him. Which is totally the wrong mentality for fighting. Wrong mentality for life, I think, but the wrong mentality for fighting. You'll never get anywhere in fighting if you've got that strong ego. I've argued with a lot of people about this, I've argued with fighters about this. I spoke to Andrew Tate about this. Andrew Tate's always talking about the ego, right? And I said, I don't agree with that, man. I don't agree with it, like, the ego thing. I agree with like the God thing now, like I articulated that later on. I agree with the God thing, man. Thought about it. I was following you, right? But just like, following your content and that. And my pal, Ryan at Dopamine, I'll shout out to Ryan, great guy. He's like, I'm reading this book, Cairns. And I was like, Cairns, guy from Scotland? He's like, aye. And I said, he's read a book, aye? And he says, aye. He gave me the book. So, reading it, I've said a few times, I resonated with it 95% of it, mate. Every single thing, I was like, I've went through that. And I think the way that I was thinking like that is because you're guiding me through your story. It's not like you're just telling me stuff, and then you're telling me a story, a part of your life, and then you're asking me to reflect on it, and then you're moving on to another part of your life. So each like a parable kinda, each part of your story is like a parable with a lesson at the end of it. The things that I resonated more with, like the escaping fucking, I always wanted to escape Glasgow, I always wanted to escape my environment because I wasn't at peace. So now I like Glasgow, I enjoy it, mate. I really like it because I'm at peace with myself. I don't have to escape nothing. I'm so comfortable, I'm thriving in it now. But where did the I'm an author come from? Where did you start that journey?
It was accidental. This was my journal. So I was in a lot of pain this time last year, and I just didn't know what to do to deal with it. So I was coming up for 2 years sober. That had been May the 13th, and I'd already experienced gone through my first year of sobriety, and then when I got to my year, I think I put too much pressure and how I perceived my year, how it was going to make me feel, didn't it? I felt worse. So I looked at it as like everything in my life's attainable, and then especially with this, everything I've attained, it became worse off because of it. So I've neglected the journey, and then I was getting all that fear and anxiety again because I'm coming up for my second year of sobriety, and I feel the same. I don't feel like I've made any progress. I feel absolutely fucked. And then I destroyed a relationship as well. but I'd already started writing, and through writing, which was mad, right, I pushed this lassie out of my life 3 times.
That's the last at the end of it.
Because of how I was feeling, right, and then I went and got therapy, so I was doing therapy online, way back on side. I was done a couple of weeks, but what I took for the woman is, she's like, I want you to go back and just write, for as far back as you can remember, and as much as you can remember, and just write. And then ask anything that's traumatic, anything that comes up, just ask yourself how you feel about it. And that's what I was doing in my journal. So I already had stuff like written, because I've written for years, but I didn't have it in a way where it was like all set out. So I was like, right, I'll go back to the start, and I got my laptop out and I had pages. And then it's a good thing about having pages on your iPhone and your laptop is I could write when I was out and about, and I could write when I was in the house. So when I go to be thoughts about something or something popped up, I would type it in, and then I'd go home later on and then re-edit it and then structure it better. And I did it in all the stories first, and then I went back and done the reflections, because I wasn't, like, even stuff I've wrote there in regards to how that's what I reflected on at that moment. Some of that feels different now, which is fine, but that's what I felt. And then I was talking to a guy that had actually wrote a book in recovery, and I says to him, I want to go back and change some of this, and he went, don't. I says, but I feel different now and all, but that's what you felt at the time, so that's what stays in the book. He says, you can talk about that later on in life. And some of the stuff that was giving me fear and anxiety was the relationship stuff, because I wrote about it and then I felt a wee bit different. And I started seeing somebody else as well. And I'd written a lot of the book while with her, and then I'd done the email series where I'd done a behind the scenes of the book, and I wrote it when I was with her. So I'm writing about all this pain, all this trauma stuff I've been through, especially in relationship stuff, and I'm with somebody, so it just felt weird. It just felt like things had changed, and I wanted to go back and remove it, not even just edit it. I thought I'll just take it out. But then I don't think the book would have been what it was. So my journal was completely personal, and it was to me, and that was my writing experience. So I think that's why people maybe identify with it, because it is kind of raw and unfiltered. When I decided it was going to be a book, because I got a wee draft made up for myself, and I gave it to one of the lassies I was coaching. She was a teacher, and she read it. I think I had like 120 pages at the time, and it was like maybe 30 chapters. So that's 191 pages and 50 chapters, so that's draft 5. So got the first draft, gave it to her and a few other people, and they gave me all sorts of constructive criticism. Good thing about Ashley, the teacher who was coaching me, and she's like, "Use your email address," gave her my email address, and she fucking ripped it apart. So she ripped it and went, "Put this into that out, get better at this. You told a good bit of in-depth storytelling about this part, but then you didn't really explain who this was." So I'd already told like stories about what happened with my mate Beach Ball and Faz and Gemma, but she's like, "Who are they?" And I was like, that makes sense. I've just kind of left it with that wee one page of something traumatic that happened to me, but I didn't even bother to go in and go, who are these people? So I went back and added in the chapters, and then I done that with things with like my granny and my granda, and then through that, I think you can see like at the start of the book, I think my writing's a wee bit all over the place, but as it progresses it got better. So I'm just learning as I'm doing this as well.
That's actually that's actually really cool.
So I wasn't anybody that was like, I left school with no qualifications, but 2 of the classes I remember that I really enjoyed and what I was good at was art and English. So even like the cover was designed by me, nice. And then the stories are obviously all mine as well. But a complete accident, man, and it's a beautiful thing, right? But it's also caused me a lot of pain that I didn't expect, because it should be an amazing thing, innit? Like writing this book, and I just say I don't see myself as an authority with a lot of stuff, but I think because of how painful it is and how fresh some of the stories are, when it came out, I'm bumping into people in Tesco and Asda, and they're asking like, who's Megan or who's this, and I'm like having these conversations in the bread aisle, and I'm like, fuck, like, I'm not even, it made me realise that I've not overcame all this stuff. I'm still processing it.
So this is just recent?
It's written up till March last year.
That's it? Wow, mate.
So half the book is, so for chapter 30 onwards is my last 2.5 years I've been home. Wow. So I came home for Australia, and I couldn't talk about getting sober without mentioning that relationship. So I think people maybe thought it was going to be a book about addiction and Glasgow stuff and all this gang violence and all this chaos, but it's actually a wee bit of a love story for myself and for somebody else.
That's amazing.
But
see that you're an author, that see you always say I'm not an authority, you're, mate. Like, I'd love to write a book. I think that is the biggest showing of balls in the world.
But we've set a programme up now, me and Brian. We're in the process of writing it, but we put the feelers out. But similar to what you do with your FORTIFIED clients, obviously spend an hour a week with them on a call and just obviously go through systems, structure, routine. And I think what we're going to do in the future is bring people on, so Brian will do our training, our fitness, nutrition and their weekly check-ins, and then they'll get an hour with me to actually learn how to, not even like learn, I'm just going to give them what I done to write my book, because I don't even know what people would have done, like actual authors, like how they'd have done it, but I'm going to show this is how I done it.
Well, I'm doing it, I'm going to do it.
So it's like we just get people to, I enjoy writing, right? I enjoy writing my content. I like scripting stuff out and then saying it and then editing it again and then saying it back again and then taking that out and then removing it and going, right, that sounds better. Like when I create content, I'll create it, but it's also got all my visuals and my video and all that set up. But sometimes what I'll do a lot of the time now is I'll just go and write the script and do the voiceover and then I'll go and film the content. So when I'm kicking about Mary Hill, my wee tripod, getting like Mary Hill in, I've always got stuff pre-written and recorded.
That's artistic, man.
And then I'll go in there, whereas I used to do it the other way, I'm trying to make everything fit the video. Whereas now it's like I just enjoy writing, saying it out, recording it, seeing how it sounds, shutting my eyes, listening to it, and then going, nah, that doesn't really, nah, and then I'll change it again. But I just want to encourage people to do the same. Like, even if somebody doesn't write a book with this programme, what they're going to do is they're going to bring their story to the surface and they're going to learn a lot about themselves. That's what I see about my book now. I resented it for a wee while there because I don't know if you've seen that video I put up just before Christmas, but I felt like I was going to drink and my heat was gone, man, and I could feel like I'm in a pressure cooker again and all this stuff is boiling up to the top and I was going to explode. My only thinking was I'm going to go and drink so I don't need to feel this. Even if it just made me like 2 hours of numbness where I didn't need to think about all this, I was willing to just go and have a drink. I wasn't going to go and drink because I wanted to enjoy myself and have fun and go out with the boys. I was about to just go and get 2 bottles of bucky and spank them in my room and then listen to my sad tunes, because then I could attach all this to that and then just have to sit with that for a few weeks and then things got better. But then what I done is I started reading my book again and reading my story again, and what happened was, I think it was December, first week in December, I created a new video. So all I done was read the intro, like Running From Me is not just a story, it's a survival manual for anyone who's ever felt lost, broken and born prepared. Like, this book is my life, the raw and unfiltered truth, what it means to grow up in chaos, to chase validation or in random places, to run for your past and fail less give it and finally come home to yourself. So I was turning that into something I was just saying to myself every day. I was like, what's my introduction, what's my story, what's my life? And I was just saying it to myself and then I recorded it. And then I went and created the wee videos in the flats that I grew up just round the corner. And then that video blew up everything. I mean, it just had 500,000 views there and it took me from 400 book sales to 2,500, like in the space of 4 weeks. And then people were reaching out for coaching, for advice, for business stuff, and it changed everything. But I remember on Boxing Day and I was seeing like the final numbers for that month and all these messages and people leaving reviews, and I was reading everything, and in that moment, man, I just had a wee greet. But it wasn't for the first time. It's like the first time I've got it, but no being like, oh, poor me and life's tough. And
joy, maybe?
It was joy, mate. It was joyous. It was happy. It was like a wee pinch me moment, man. Because a lot of my life, I just don't feel like deserving of stuff. And then even when I was greeting, man, I had that wee moment. I like, this doesn't happen to boys like me. And I've just myself in my house, Boxing Day, just reading all the messages. And I think in that moment I realised how useful my book was, what it meant to people. It wasn't just my story, it was theirs. Whereas before I'm like, people are going to read this, people are going to judge it, people are, oh, it's causing me stress. Whereas now, because the amount of people, even yourself saying 95% of that I identified with. So that just makes it feel like this isn't just my book, this isn't just my story, this is everybody else's, and then I realised that's how it's written as well. It's not written for an authority, it's written for an experience. Each chapter's just a mirror. As you say, you can read your own wee bit and get your own reflection to something that you've been through. So if I'm talking about growing up in the Gulshay and the Felmore Flats and running about with this, you can then look at it from where you grew up and where you came from, and you gain your own reflection on that. And what I've realised is a lot of people have messaged and went, I keep going back to this, I keep reading this wee reflection, or I keep reading this wee chapter. It's like it just stays with me, and I'm like, that's brilliant, man. I didn't expect it to be so impactful. I thought this would have some sort of ripple effect onto my coaching business. I thought people maybe read this, a handful of people might read this, and then they'll end up wanting to work with me as a coach. So it was like, that was like just for generating leads. That would have been its main purpose. But I'm actually earning a living off it now.
Wow.
And I'm taking 3 months off in March just to kind of soak it all in.
Maybe go again.
I'm going to sell my motor, I'm going to get a wee camper van and go on holiday. I'm going to pay off fucking an enormous amount of debt I've got as well. And I just take a bit of time for myself. I've not had any time off in 3 years. March will be 3 years since I came home for Australia. And this book's allowed me to take some time off.
Brilliant, man. Wow.
Which I didn't expect. It was, I'm proud of it now. But it's took me from August to now to feel that way.
Aye.
I wasn't proud of it in the beginning, and I wasn't proud of it while it was doing its wee thing. But now, I think because, I don't know, it's like I didn't anticipate how many people were going to reach out and be so emotional or be so connected with it. But now it's like I'm proud of it.
Brilliant. So, for all the months you weren't proud of it, what solidified the pride in it? Just the recognition that people gave you for it?
Because I was still struggling.
Still struggling internally?
Yeah, I was just still dealing with a lot of stuff.
Do you think writing this has helped that?
Aye.
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 Brilliant.
I'd say writing's changed my life, man. You know yourself, especially if you're writing to create content, you're putting wee posts out, you're doing videos, you're talking to the youth in your gym, or you're going to seminars, or you're connecting with other people like yourself at fighting. It's just having the ability just to kind of take what's in here and put it into paper, and then what will happen is you'll revisit that and go, smack how I felt on that.
So I don't script my content at all. I can't read a script and talk. I struggle with it, I like to come off the bat.
Aye.
But I write a lot. I've got books for like 10 years, you know what I mean? All through jail, Hunnels, I wrote like fucking 7 books. Stuff recently. So what I like about that is, it's a journal, right? So I write what's going to happen. I would like this to happen. I'd like to own a gym. I'd like to be a fighter or whatever. And mate, 99% it comes through, which is mad when you read it back 4 or 5 years later. That's something. So somebody said this mad thing to me. All thoughts come in this imaginative realm. I call it God, right? But all thoughts come in this imaginative realm. And then when you physically write it out, you materialise them in the physical world. Do you know what I mean? Like these thoughts, they become physical, and then that makes it go into the steps to becoming actual materialising in life, not just on paper. Do you know what I mean? I really like that.
But even with you, mate, I think your story is unreal, man. And the thing is, people are getting glimpses of it through your content. Like, you could write something like that in 3 months. That's my experience. It took me probably by the time I edited it, maybe say 6 months, but it was written, and then I just went back and refined it all and all that. But in 3 months, I say to people, you could have your own story, and then think about it, it only takes people maybe 2 years to read that. 3 months of writing for 2 years of reading.
That's beautiful. But I'd struggle to do it.
But because maybe
I'd struggle to share it.
Aye.
No,
I think
write it, share it.
No, but it is as well. People feel. I wrote the book that I would read, so I started that as my journal. But when I went back to refine it, I was like, I don't want long chapters. I want people to get what they want out of a story in 1 or 2 pages, because we live in a world where we're scrolling. People want to scroll from one story to the next story. See, if I spent fucking 6 chapters and 20 pages talking about the Gulshay and growing up in the flats, like, people would have been like, right, I'll put that down, I'll get back to the next one.
Aye.
I wanted people to pick it up and go, I can't put this down.
And the whole parable hangs better than just me telling you my fucking story.
So it's like one wee, and it can be quick, because that's how we talk anyway, that's how we engage, that's how we connect. Like, we just kind of want to get everything out all at one time, but sadly there's not enough time in the world. And then I just want to help people journal along with training, fitness, nutrition, mindfulness. If you want to pray and meditate, that's optional as well. I won't force religion or God on anybody, but that's my experience. But writing for me has been massive. So I feel more connected to myself when I write, because a lot of times I've got this racing brain, my head's 100 miles an hour, and I'm just trying to bring a calmness into my life with a lot of stuff, especially this, because it's important to me. And if I'm just left to my own devices and I'm not writing and I'm not meditating and I'm not going to meetings and I'm just on Chaz terms, then my life starts to fall apart. I start to become self-serving. I mean, I start fucking chasing women and fucking, maybe before you know it, man, I'm in a pub with a pipe in my hand, got my hat in tear. And I don't want to leave that up to anybody, so as long as I've got my conscious contact with God, my sober circle, and I'm spending enough time with my family and I'm being an example in my work, then there's no reason why my life shouldn't progress. And especially when I have these wee moments of self-doubt, at least if I've been writing up to that point, I can look back and go, what you've done, mate? You're a fucking dafty feeling like this, man. What you've done. So I always need to reflect on the good as well, because a lot of times I'm like, everything's shit. I've been through this, I've been through that, and this isn't great. And that's just something I'm trying to get better at. But the more I try and do things like this and be able to reflect on it, like the reflections were completely accidental as well. And then I was going to just remove the word reflection and just keep that, but then when I was reading it back, the rhythm didn't feel right, and I was like, oh, maybe just, if I write reflection, maybe that'll give people an indication that this is a part of their own life and their own story that they need to reflect on. And I was getting a lot of that as well, see, being able to just kind of, like, I'm reliving every moment as I'm writing it. Like, especially see talking about the beach ball stuff. I mean, like, that broke my heart. That death's a big part of my life, just because he had a weigh to my cousin Diane, and wee Jay just turned 18 in November there. His dad died when he was 17. To think that he's outlived the age he's died is mad, you know what I mean? And when I look at there's a photo of me and Jamie, and we're in one of the closest interests at the same street it was murdered on. And just looking at how young we are, we're 17, man. Lacoste trackies, bottles of lucky, and I'm like, I can't believe he died at that age. And we thought we were like men at 17. That's the madness, running about the streets full of drink and drugs and chaos. And to just look at his wee boy now, and he's working and he's still enjoying himself, enjoying life, but he never even got a chance to know who his dad was. And I made sure, like, when I was putting in this book, like, I was going to remind him who his dad was. I mean, his dad was one of my good pals when we were like 7 or 8, and we were in Barrisdale, different schemes at the time. And then years later, obviously different paths, different areas, and still living the same lives, but then reconnected again when we were like 15. We were in Cawdor at the time, and Cawdor was mad because we had all the Postal, all the Lindale, everybody on that one area. It was class and it was brilliant, and then just having him there just made everything dead comfortable for me. So I had all this fear, a wee guy. I mean, I don't really fit in on that. Somebody's going to do me in, somebody's going to say something stupid to me, and I don't know what I'm going to say back. You know what I mean? And I just loved being in amongst all the boys. But I remember doing it was on TikTok, I think. I had TikTok and Instagram. I done a live read before the book came out. So I was like, I'll read half the book, and I done it on a live. And wee Jay tuned in, that's Beach Boys Bowie, and obviously I'm reading about these parts he's done, some obviously stuff I've never spoke to him about personally. But then him messaging me after it, telling me he was proud of me and all that.
Oh man, that's brilliant, mate.
And that means a lot to me. I lived away for 11, 12 years of my life in another country, and I always made sure that I wanted this wee guy to know who I was. I mean, seeing every visit I came back, I always wanted to go up and see Diane, I always wanted to go up and see them. I'm not as close to them as another day, and I don't get to see them as much, but they'll message me every now and again, they'll talk to me every now and again, and I just think I'll be here. If he's ever dealing with anything, man, I'll be here for that. And I encourage all my wee cousins. I come from a massive family in Maryhill, and all the wee mob they know that they're all like 15, 16, 17 and 18, and someone will come into the gym and all that and they'll take the piss at me and they'll slag me and I'll do it back, but especially when I put up like my emotional content and whatever, they'll put up there'll be messages and there'll be love hearts and there'll be handshakes and all that, and I'm like, that's having an impact on them, and I love that. That's motivating.
You're showing young men how to go. Even myself, mate, I'm not the most open guy in my internal thoughts. Like that's what I like about it. I struggle with that. Do you know what I mean? If I'm going through fucking something, I like to just bottle it in and fucking fight it, you know what I mean? There's a benefit to doing it like that, but also a negative to doing it like that. I'm not the most emotionally connected guy. Do you know what I mean? And I think people struggle as well, like my wife or my pals or whatever. I struggle to be emotional to them, and then I struggle to be emotional back to me sometimes, you know what I mean? More like my ma or my wife or like women, females, because I'm not really built like that as much. I should be a wee bit more.
I think internally it is there. I think you've just made the decision that it doesn't always need to be a surface level thing. It doesn't need to be you sitting talking about something and greeting about it. It's like you still feel it regardless. But there's ways people process stuff, and the way I process it is I do feel dead emotional and caught off guard when I talk about certain things. I'm like, fuck, that's hit me. But even like for instance coming on your podcast, I've been asked on about 20 podcasts in the past 3 months and I've knocked them all back. This was the only one I'd say I was happy to come on. And it's just, I look at a lot of people that have got podcasts, and I said I dig it about the day. I just always get a wee message and go, listen, I'm busy with other stuff now. If I get round to it, I just thank them for even thinking of me. But their values, I just see their platform is more like we'll get anybody on.
And sometimes like for instance, I kind of know what you're talking about, like Glasgow.
I don't feel like you're doing this to gain anything out of me.
I actually think it to help you for talking about your
I think he's wanting to just get me on for a chat, and I see that because you're somebody I'd look at online is probably the same as in person. You're true to your values. But I done that video yesterday, I just feel you are who you say you are. I've had a few people that have just asked me on their podcast where I've seen their behaviour online and other things, and I'm like, our values are nothing against you, but I don't see myself sitting down having a conversation with you. And then the ones I'm doing recently is just more in my community. So I went to the Maryhill Borough Halls and done a talk in there because my mate's in recovery and he works there as well with a young team, and he just asked me if I would go down and have a talk of that, man. Because for me, I'm like, that's no self-serving. I'm not really getting anything to gain out of this, rather than I'm just going here to talk to a team of wee guys. And then the G20 group runs a teen podcast, so it's like we 15 and 16 year olds that are getting production help off their local community, sort of self-funded and all that. So it's like they depend on people's donations, and at Christmas time there they had like Ewan McGregor and all that all going down, and that was also helping to raise funds and awareness. But they messaged me asking if I would come on their podcast, and then they sent me a link to the one they've done on Spotify, and it's just we 15 and 16 year old boys and lassies that are from Maryhill, that are in the scheme, that have grew up in some degree of poverty where other parents are riddled with addiction or whatever, but they've seen my story. And one of the ones that asked me is the boy who got me sober. It's his niece. Oh, yes. And she messaged and I was like 100%, didn't have to think about it, I was like, I'll be there. And then one of the older people who runs the charity had messaged me, and they're just trying to organise a time. That benefits me in a way where I'm like, that's a platform where there's no really eyes on that.
There's no
gain there. That's what I feel with this. Like, you've got I see what you've done with your FORTIFIED. So to even ask me to come down here, I'm like, there's no really, other than two guys having a conversation about his experience and my experience, and that's it. There's no sort of ego involved, it's no self-serving. It's more just kind of shining a light on my life and where I've been through, what the journey's been like and what I'm doing today. And that's what I want to do, more stuff.
I think you talk really well, you articulate really well, and you're quite calm when you talk, and you say things, like explain it really well. Do you do longer form content, or do you have your own podcast?
Nah. So we're going to set up our own podcast, and I've just going to call it Running From Me. And the boys and lassies, that's about a platform, they're just people who I spend a lot of my time with. Right. Like Brian and whatever. Like Brian's been brilliant for me. Brian's one of my coaches right from, he managed all my online stuff, and see him talking in meetings and how he handles himself and how he's there for other people. like incredible, man. He's just a joy to be around. Put a camera in front of Brian, man, fucking fumbles. So the amount of times we sat down and tried to create content, man, it's funny, because it's just something that obviously he's had to overcome, but I'm trying to get him to do something because I love his mess. His story is incredible, man. He comes from a family riddled for addiction for the area that he came from. Brothers that were heroin addicts and all that, and they died, they overdosed, and he'd found one of them, and his journeys, I speak about him in my book. He was 8 months sober, and I joined that group in Cairns, and I think it was that day. I don't know if I got the time, but this is how I wrote it anyway. I didn't bother running any of this past him, I just threw it in the book. But he had to put his brother's door in that morning and found him dead. And then he came to that meeting that night. Like, he could have easily just kind of been like, fuck this, man, I'm in a lot of pain here. But the only place he wanted to be was in his group, in his A meeting for like people like ourselves, man. And then the meeting had started, and then the way a meeting's set up is you've got a chairperson, which is a group member, and then they've asked somebody to come along and share their experience, strength and hope, and then that person will talk for half an hour on their journey. It can be about anything. And then they'll have a wee tea break, and then they'll open up the room for anybody that wants to come in that identify with anything that's just been said. Then you go, I'll come in, I'm charming, alcoholic, and then you say anything that you identify with. But in the break time we were in, and Brian's sitting across from me, and I just didn't know what to say to him, because obviously he's just been through, but he's asking me, he's like, how you doing, how you getting on with everything, how you finding the meetings and recovery, and I was only like, fucking, like, I'm sober or something. He was talking about the programme, the book, and for the whole month I'm like, I'm going to ask Brian to give me a home with this book, and because that's what today, he need to ask him to be a sponsor, and he's a home with the programme. And I was like, a whole month I'm going to ask him, and then that happened, and I was like, I can't ask him. But he's there asking me how my life is and how I'm getting on, how I'm coping with recovery. If I asked anybody to be a sponsor, and I was going to ask you. But obviously under these circumstances, he's like, listen mate, take you through the bottom, man. And he's looking at his calendar, his times, like, can do Thursday, every Thursday at 6 o'clock, just come to mine. I'm like, aye, it sounds. So I'm like, this boy's just lost his brother. And he's organising a time for me to go down to his house for free. He's getting up his own time, 6 o'clock, finishes work, comes straight home, gets a quick change. His missus will go up the stair, and then I'll be doing the stair with my book and we'll be reading it, and then he'll be guiding me through it. And it's a 12-step programme built into like 400 pages of a book. And then slowly but surely I'm getting my recovery off the back of that, and then he's teaching me how to pray and teaching me how to meditate, and then there's a prayer for each step. And then me and this boy who I used to fucking sit in a gaff with and take eckies with, we're now sitting in his living room, holding hands, saying the Serenity prayer, and then hugging, and then leaving, I'll see you next week.
Fuck's sake.
And I'm like, this isn't normal.
Aye.
You know what I mean? When you're somebody that's beautiful and emotional and powerful.
Aye.
I just couldn't believe that another human being would do that for me. I mean, that's a shining example of recovery.
Aye.
When we talk about being undeserving of certain things in life, I'm like, I'm undeserving of love, so I'll sabotage relationships. I'm undeserving of this job, so I'll destroy that. There's 50 stories I self-sabotage right there. And then being able to get a reflection a day on, this is how I see it now. And I'm just trying to be that example. If it wasn't for Brian putting his horn out for me and letting me know that everything was going to be alright, and if I stick to this 12-step programme and I keep going to meetings, my life will change. And he was right. That was massive for me. And then now I get to try and do the same for somebody else. And then whoever I help, they'll then get to try and do the same to somebody else. And then whoever they help, they'll get to then try and do the same for somebody else. That's the ripple effect of recovery.
Aye.
And obviously it's like Alcoholics Anonymous sounds fucking, because you've got CA, NA and all them, but coke was never my issue. I stopped taking drugs in 2013, but then seriously struggled with alcohol after that.
Aye.
I'll go to CA meetings, I'll get asked to go to CA meetings and share, but I'm just sharing. I went to one on a Wednesday night in Garnet Hill, it's called Emotional Sobriety, but it's all cocaine addicts and some heroin addicts as well, but I can only share on sobriety. And I said that to them, like, I'm no, but this is what I've noticed with recovery, you can call it NA, A, CA, whatever it is, but it's all recovery. We're all addicted to something, and the programme is designed for living. Your step one is just admitting you're powerless over that substance, and the rest of the steps are just a guidance and a support for life, taking inventory, making amends, and helping somebody else. It's a simple programme. And for anybody that suffers from addiction, they're just like, oh, the drink's not that bad, coke's not that bad, no lost my job yet, my wains are still talking to me, my missus still kind of lets me in the house now and again. And you're like, why is it we live in a society where we need to wait till things hit rock bottom before we get help? How can we not recognise that things are becoming a bit of a hassle and a bit of a struggle? And rather than catching it early, we'll wait until... It's the equivalent of driving down the motorway and you get a flat tyre and you bounce out and you go, fuck's sake, and then you stab there off 3 tyres. That's what it's like. It's like you already realised there was an issue there and there was a problem. But our mad heads are like, I'm just going to go and make everything else worse. And then I'll deal with it. And that was my book in a sense. It was 50 forms of self-sabotage, where I talk about wee things that were going alright, and then I destroyed it. If life didn't destroy it, I destroyed it. And then I get a reflection on that.
That's amazing.
And I'm recognising my behaviours today, and I'm trying to manage them. And as you say, it's just being mindful about environments you're surrounding yourself in, and then just try to be some sort of example for my recovery. My recovery is number one. See, if I don't have my recovery and my connection with God, everything else doesn't exist. This conversation doesn't exist.
Same though. Connection to God for me is like number one, and people will say like, it's that wee guy, you know, Muslim for and we read these things and that. They don't imagine me when I'm doing it. It makes me the man I always wanted to be. And maybe another religion could do that, do you know what I mean? If I focused on it enough.
See with you, mate, and see what I see is people don't see the amount of violence that you had to go through to be this peaceful.
Aye, that's true.
People just think, oh, he's just fucking that guy and he says this and he builds stuff and he's fortified and he fucking helps veins. I'm like, no, there's a bigger picture behind this, my man. There's a reasoning. He's not doing this for financial gain. You know what I mean? There's somebody up there's got a horn on his shoulder and they're just guiding him all to the right places.
I appreciate that, man. That's really nice.
And it's class, mate. It's brilliant to see. It's incredible. It's motivating.
Thank you, man. Thank you. On that note then, you were just saying that there because I've actually got to speak to you after that first form of content you shared about this other coach that said all that. You're the anti that fucking idiot. I don't even know his name, I didn't even follow him again. But you're the anti that guy. So in effect he's hating on a guy like you or myself that's sharing, but you share so much. I've actually, this is like, I feel emotional now. Like, I have to kind of lot there for you sharing your book as well, but I didn't get it for you one-on-one. So with that sharing thing, that's such a great message. I think you're an authority though. I think you are an authority in these things, like being an author, being a man that's recovered, being a coach, being a human being. I think you need to kind of say that as well, rather than
it's probably like an affirmation I need to speak every day on it.
You are an authority, mate. You are you say you just in a wee funny side, you say you script your content, I don't. You're an authority compared to that. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that you do that you need to take on. Wait a fucking minute, no, in an ego way. Wait a minute, I am this. Because if you always want the negative before a positive comes to it, you might miss a lot of opportunities of the positives. Like that guy in the house and God's giving him all these ways to get to heaven. You need to see that you're an authority, you need to see that you're doing great things, because you're fucking doing great, really great things. And all these people in recovery that's going to get that for you, maybe because you've learned it from Brian, you've learned it from a really good example of how to recover somebody. Well, you're a really good, he's an authority, and you're an authority. Then they're going to learn from you because you're an authority. Do you get what I'm saying?
100%. I think it's just, we spoke about it earlier as well, just being mindful who you take advice off, innit? And it's mad because Brian's the guy I trust with my sobriety. So anything in regards to my sobriety, I'm like, I need to phone him, or I don't feel great today, I feel a wee bit off. But he's the guy that will phone me with content stuff and other stuff, and it's mad. And then I've got mates who are really successful in business. If I need business advice, I'll phone them. I'm not going to phone one of my mates that's not got a job. So it's being mindful of who I open up to and who I talk to and who I surround myself with. But it's just that it's cause my mindset is, and I said it at the start when you were asking who Chaz, and obviously me saying I just thought if I went and built enough and achieved enough, I'd be enough. And I think that's what I've done, because that was my mentality back then, where everything was just driven without purpose.
Right.
And that's dangerous. I mean, it's like,
you've not got a destination.
You've not got a destination in a sense where, like, why am I doing this? Who is this for? It's just, it became mega distraction. So I'm going to go and do CrossFit, that's going to distract me. I'm going to go and do triathlons. I was like, kind of swimming, get swimming lessons. I'm doing triathlons in Australia in shark infested water, and I'm fucking terrified. I'm doing it because I'm like, discipline and hard work, and I fucking swam into a carrier bag and I thought something caught me. I mean, I'm not doing this again. So I was doing all these extreme things to distract myself from what was actually going on inside my head. I was dealing with untreated alcoholism. Alcohol comes in a bottle, alcoholism comes in people. I'm one of the unfortunate people, but I'm also fortunate enough, I've got a good understanding of what it is I suffer from addiction. Whereas before I was in denial with that. I can control my drinking, I can control my drug taking. Then why is it every time life becomes difficult, I keep going back to the drink? How is it I can get 6 months after drink, and then when I have that one drink, that's me till Monday, and then I'm patching responsibility, and then I'm being irresponsible again, and then I'm destroying my relationships, and I'm sending text messages to Jobs saying I'm not coming back, just because my wee head can't fucking cope with life anymore.
Would you prefer Chad that is anti-drink, or would you prefer Chad that can have a sociable drink? What would you rather have in the two instances?
So, my obsession with drink is removed today. So, I wouldn't even go as far as saying as I'm anti-drink, because I'm around a lot of people that still drink.
I'm sorry, Chad that's teetotal, or Chad that can maybe have a social drink?
Teetotal.
Aye.
Aye, I would have to be, man, because I can break it down the day. If it wasn't for getting sober, I wouldn't have all these things in my life. I wouldn't have had the relationships and the connections. I know I keep referencing Brian, but Brian's not the only one. Like my mate Alan, who took me to my first meeting in Glasgow, which was mentors that he could maybe just tell. Do you know when I came home from Australia, I came home on the basis that as soon as I get home, I need to go straight into Alcoholics Anonymous. And I came home and I met somebody and I was drinking there and spending time there, and I was selling her the... She'd seen me on social media for years and maybe thought that's the guy I was. And then she knew me for the streets, but I just was somebody she would never have associated with. So this lassie's got a perception of who Chad is, and then maybe seen how I spoke online, and I was doing good bit of fitness content and Australia content and showing people all the good stuff earlier. And then even when I spoke about, I didn't talk about addiction earlier because I also didn't identify as an alcoholic. I would talk about my mental health instead. So I would talk about depression and books by Johann Hari and all that. So when I came home and I started drinking with her, I was like selling her who...
You wanted Chad?
Aye, who she thought Chad was.
Who she thought Chad was, aye, that's man.
And I played that character to the mass fell off, and then I pushed it out my life. And then I was like, I need to go to AA, and then when I pushed it out, I was messaging Al. And he came and picked us up, and we were talking about stuff, and I was telling him how I was feeling. He said, right, go to a meeting, Tuesday. And I says, aye, fuck it. And he says, I'm doing the tap table. He says, and Jai is going to share. There's another boy I grew up with, who's got his own journey as well, man, and such a heartbreaking story. And then I went to that meeting and he picked us up in the motor with another boy, Jamie, boy for Postal and all that I knew from back in the day, and we're on this motor and we're driving up and I was like, Al's there, Jai's there, Jamie's there and all that, and I'm like, this is mad. Like, we're all boys for the street that grew up in absolute chaos, man. And they've all been through their own experiences with Alan and Pullman and all that, and Jamie obviously went through the system and then Barrel and all sorts of mad stuff. And then we're all driving to this meeting and then we go in and I see Brian there, I see Jerry there, and boys and lassies I've grown up with, and they're all fucking shiny and they're happy and they're all having a laugh, and then we sit down and the meeting starts. And then Alan does his introduction into Alcoholics Anonymous and the suggestions and all that, and just in case there's a newcomer in the door and they don't know, like me, I was a newcomer and I just didn't know how it worked. And then they shared a wee bit about himself and then handed it over to Jai, and Jai shared his experience, strength and hope, and was dead emotional. I remember just sitting in that meeting, like tears running down my eyes. I just felt the power in the room, and I was like, it's came from two boys I grew up with, who are being these shining examples for me. Yeah, they've also sat with me and was like, he was in Australia, he's living this amazing life. But then when I came back and they got round about me, they actually seen how difficult I was making it for myself. I mean, their perception was Chad was in Australia and travelled the world and was working in the Philippines and was in fucking Vietnam, and I'm back here in pain. And through me opening up with that pain, they were like, trying to come to a meeting. And it was life changing.
Wow.
And I've just kept coming back. I've been out the door a few times, but I never drank. I just distance myself a wee bit and I'll do this by myself and then I go back again. But if it wasn't for them, see, you know, people don't... I don't even think they realise how important they were to me. I can write wee bits about it in a book, but I'll have moments where I'll maybe share in a meeting and I'll be talking about them and fucking the emotion will overwhelm me because I'm like, I'd be absolutely fucked if it wasn't for them helping me. Yeah, they'll still message me for help with other stuff. They don't look at me as if like I'm a hindrance or a burden or he struggles man, he's off his seat. It's a two-way street. Sometimes I might be done and they'll be like, I'll give you another prime example. When I was writing this and I had a bit of a meltdown, I talk about it, it's like when everything came crashing down, I think that's the name of the chapter. I was on the phone to Al and I was just telling him he started about and fucking cry. And then after I came off the phone to him, man, he showed up at my house. And I get the coffees on and all that, and got the coffees on, it was a pure Scotch day. We're sitting in my garden, man, we're making fucking stupid videos and he's making me laugh and all that, and then gave us a hug and then left and up the road, and I was like, that was brilliant, man. I didn't even realise I needed that, but he knew I needed it.
Wow.
I could have just sat there and went into myself. I mean, I don't feel great, everything's shitty, I'm going through this. Megan doesn't want to be with me now, she's moved on, and he just rocked up. And for another man to sit there with another man, if that was the other boys I grown up with, they'd have been like, oh, too busy mate, or they'd probably patched it, or they might have went to go to the pub and talk about it. Before you know, 4 in the morning, we're sitting in a kitchen, man, still talking about it. As if I've overcame it.
Just made it worse.
But the people in my life today is what's kept me recovered. It's not just me. There's God, and then there's them.
Beautiful, man.
And these are people that are on the same path.
And you're still close to them.
I'm still close to them, we talk every day, we message every day.
Like
Even Brian, I've got to bring Brian here, he messaged us saying Jamie's out there with the rain and he was asking what I was up to. I was like, I'm coming here. And I was going to say him if he wanted to come, but I love the relationships. I didn't have that in Australia. I had good boys and lassies running about us, but we were all individual, own wee journeys. I feel like anybody that moves abroad kinda they don't slow down earlier. I don't know if you experience this when you move abroad, because everybody's trying to get somewhere still. Nobody's actually got their feet planted and try to build something. It's more like, let's just get to this next thing and do this and go here and travel this and aye.
Well, I moved to Portugal and it's really slow. It's super slow, it's opposite. Aye, super slow. It's too slow, too sleepy. It's paradise, mate, right? But it's hard to make money there because everything's just too slow. And I struggled to get into that wee rhythm because I was busy with everything else I was doing, the other things. But I missed my mates. I've got really close mates. I'm lucky in life that God has given me really close mates. I've been pal with for fucking 20 odd years and I'm still pal with them today. And I came back and I was like, I fucking miss you cunts. I missed the fact that I could speak Glaswegian. Aye. Because you're in Portugal, you know what I mean? And I had I've got a few mates earlier, Spain and Portugal, good mates, but still, like, my big group of mates weren't there.
Have you still got a lot of mates that are heavily involved with the stuff that you used to do?
People I know that are, but I don't associate with them as much because I think that stuff you used to do, it's only based on that transaction. So funny enough, when I stopped doing stuff like that,
some of that stuff for you,
the friendship wasn't there. Do you know what I mean?
So I've experienced it in a way where I've still got mates that are in amongst that lifestyle. And I spend a lot of time with them. We go for coffees and walks and breakfast and all that, and they've got their own wee lives and their own wee families. But what I've noticed is they want something that I've got. Aye. Obviously they would have to give up or risk to get it.
Peace.
And they know that. But there's a few that are actually in recovery as well. And beautiful people, man. But sadly that's also a life that they live and can't escape. Aye. But at the same time they want that peace.
Aye.
And that connection. But I have a lot of people, my boys that I've grew up with will message me saying, listen chat, I want to go to meetings and all that and I want to do this, but I'm still punting gear but I'll no sugarcoat it. I'll go, you do realise that if you come in and you're trying to get recovery, it's alright coming to meetings and hearing other people's stories, but you're still lying to yourself. You're still trying to control everything, not realising that how can the whole purpose of the programme is once you get to step 12 you get to help another alcoholic, or you'll never be able to get the programme in your life, you'll never be able to get God in your life if you're coming in here. But it's like, it's fine what you do, and that's maybe an awareness that will change for you one day. But you can see they're so disconnected because I've made my money, I fucking go the holidays and the lifestyle and the fancy motor and the fucking good trainings, but it's like they're still so disconnected. But then it's like
that's not good anyway.
but then it's like having to give all that up to get this. It's like, why would you?
I've disengaged all that from my life, like even the environment, even the associations. I'll talk to people if I see them and say, alright mate, but I'll only be going hanging about them. You just can articulate it to me there though, but I've cut that out of my life. Even people that take drinking drugs, I don't really engage with them as much because I don't have a lot in common with them. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
If somebody's wanting to see me and they take drinking drugs at the weekend or whatever, I'll catch up with them through the week for something to eat. But I'll only be in that environment that they're doing it. And people that are involved in that life, I don't have an association with it at all. And it's cleaner for me, do you know what I mean? Because like crime, somebody starts shooting crime, I think it's the only option. And it's quite lazy, I know, you know what I mean? It's a weird one. It's like you're doing bad things in the world, but you end up getting success.
What would you say was the defining moment for you? Like
jail, bro. Jail, mate. Well, I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know if I was getting 5 weeks or 5 years. And my wife and Wayne's were in Portugal. And I'm in a jail cell in Spain, don't know what the fuck's happening. And I've never really had, like, reflected. I didn't have reflections in my life. I just went, go, gung ho, let's go chase this and whatever. And then I'm in this jail cell every day, 24 hours or whatever, walking about the yard and in the cell. And I'm thinking about every mistake I made for the last 36 years of my life. Again and again and again, right? And then I started to formulate a plan. Right, you done this wrong because this happened to you in your life and you never dealt with it. Like I get stabbed when I was a young boy. I went to Poland when I was a young boy and I never really dealt with all that. And I just kept going and going and going. So I came right out to Poland and my lawyer introduced me to MMA. I became a professional MMA fighter, really successful as a young guy in my early 20s. And then when my first daughter was born, I stopped fighting and started working. I had a business now, then I ended up getting involved with things, and that was just that took care of my life. And if I never had fighting, I wouldn't have done that. And I always thought to myself, right, there's something right here, I'm missing my purpose. I think fighting's purposeful for me, it's no ego driven, it's purposeful because I can live a good life, be a good man, be healthy, be happy. And then in jail, one of the things was, you need to get back fighting, mate. And it was at the end of prison, so I went in there out of shape, fat as fuck, and I wasn't training. Fuck it, I can train. I was a professional fighter. Started training like fuck. And I was doing like CrossFit sessions, and all these Arabs and fucking Spanish cunts and Russian cunts all joining the sessions with me. And I'd been a PT in my bear for a wee bit because I stopped doing all crime and I started doing like PT and that kind of stuff. And then whatever, I ended up doing it again and got into trouble, got caught. So the coaching was coming out. Do you know what I mean? The coaching was coming out, and then in my head I'm formulating this plan on, I'm tying the coaching and the training to the discipline, the routine, the structure, reading these books, finding my faith again, praying 5 times a day no matter what, getting up in the morning praying, doing it every day. And that's what Fortified is. I formulated Fortified in the depths of hell prison, in a very, very hard place. So I formulated the fact that I overcame addiction in prison. You could not pay me £1 billion, £100 billion to take a sip of alcohol, or to hold a gram a year, to like to my pal over here, take that, go and take a line. I would never do that. Somebody came to me recently for jail, in Spanish jail. He's flew to the UK and he's from the UK and he's, I need to come up and see you, mate. And I'm like, come up and see my gym and how's life, and you get back to that bird. So I've got this business deal and I've got this turn for you and all that, and you make fucking 50 grand in a month from that, and I'm like, I'm not interested, mate. Buy me my own money. I'm not going to continue this conversation, mate. But anyway, how's life? How's things? How's the rain and all that? How's this? Do you know what I mean? But jail just formulated Brian Hislop, the Fortified.
That's what it is. It's sort of in a sense like built from broken. So it's like, as you say, you're in the depths of despair and you're planning, not your escape, but your mission. Like, when I go out here, what can I do to have an impact on my community? Maybe so that a guy like yourself that's maybe going through something similar doesn't end up going down the same path. So it's like they're just kind of shining a wee bit of light on somebody else's darkness.
100%.
And that started with your own darkness. Nobody was coming there to save you. I mean, as you say, you got your conscious contact with God, that was your shining light. That maybe showed you a wee glimmer of hope and what your future can hold for you.
And I'm not going to lie, mate. Every single thing that I said I'd do in jail, I'm doing. And the ones that I've not done yet are going to get done. I know they're going to get done. And there's a lot of stuff I said I'm going to commit, like X, Y, Z. No in a gloating way, but in a like, no, I've done that. And I don't believe in the word pride. I'm not a proud man. I don't believe in pride, but I'm pleased with my efforts. I'm pleased with all the efforts that I've went through and all the struggles I've went through. I pray to God fucking every day, and I actually, it's gratitude. I say, mate, thank you for God, mate. God, thank you for putting me through that. Thank you for putting me through the test. And I'm always thinking back to all the shit I went through.
Would you say God's like your inspiration, or is there other people?
God's say above everything for me. God is.
So God is obviously in you, in your routine, in your life, in your family, in your work, and everything that you do. But is there anybody in your life where you would maybe look at and take advice off of and take inspiration off of?
So, for me, faith is number one. Faith is number one, right? And everything else is secondary to that, and that's the only way I need to live my life. Inspirations like yourself, like my mate Robert, who's a fighter, like my dad, really good inspiration. Like there's a lot of them, and I'm not scared to say that to them.
Yeah.
I'm not scared to say, Dad, I really look up to you in that. Like Brian of previous would say, fuck, I'm good mate, you're doing well in that. But no, look mate, you've changed my life. I love you for it. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm not scared to say that. I'm not an emotional, like outward person, but I'm not scared to say the truth. You know what I mean? I'm not scared to say my mind. I don't have fear of what they're going to react to how I say this.
I think that's important, because then it shows you're a man that obviously stands for what he talks about. And you're not just saying it for the sake of saying it. It's like even if you're challenged on it, you would show up with some passion and meaning and purpose behind it. And I feel that shows in how you present yourself, it shows in your content. Do you know, I was somebody years ago, I would maybe look at somebody like you and feel dead jealous. That was like my experience. I just didn't know how to feel jealousy. I can look at jealousy today as like a motivator, right? So now it's like, before I used to look at people what they've got and go, how have I not got that? Whereas now I can look at people like yourself and go, I want to just maybe spend a wee bit more time with them. Because hopefully whatever they're doing might rub off on me. And I think that's what I do now, so I can look at maybe, it's not like I'm taking for somebody, but it's more like I'm learning from them, like I'm watching them from a distance, I'm seeing how they present themselves. That's how I got Brian to also take me through the programme. And then I've seen people like that in fitness marketing, online. I'm very mindful who I share stuff with, like online, or people messaging me, and you're not really my person.
When you're helping somebody?
Yeah, so...
Aye, if like a wee boy came on me last night and he's like, Brian, can I do a session with you to build my profile? And I was like, aye. And he's like, how much will it cost me? And I was like, mate. And he said another thing, how many followers do I need? And I says, look mate, I've not mentioned money, I've not mentioned followers. What do you want to do? I want to come down and film my session, alright soon. And then that was it. And then I went, what for? He said, I want to build my profile. And I spent about 3 hours online texting him, like, do this. And after he's like, mate, I didn't think you were going to say that. I'm so appreciative of that. I like that, you know what I mean?
Oh, it's brilliant. Do you know, I've set up a thing, it's called, I help a lot of coaches in my work, right? So for the past 3 years of me working in JD, Mary Hill, I think I've had like 50 coaches that have came and gone. And a lot of them have been fresh out of college, where they've done their cert, could have been like a 2-year course, a year course, or a fast track course. But then they didn't learn how to do fitness marketing, didn't know how to build a personal brand, didn't know how to create content, didn't know what apps to use, how to present themselves, what hooks were, how to tell a story, how to finish it. I'd be asking them, what was the 2 most important parts of your content? And like, I don't know. And I was like, how you start it and how you finish it. How you start it is going to keep people watching, how you finish it is going to keep people signing up. So anything that you say in between just needs to be telling a story. As you say, entertainment and education. But this is stuff I never really looked at. And then, as you say, you can script it and do stuff that's sort of off the cuff and it becomes a bit more comfortable. But see, I set up a coaches chat and we're in there and showing them all the stuff I use for content, mics, ideas, everything, man. I'm spending so much time in it of doing it, but not one coach implemented anything.
Fuck's sake.
There's a couple that actually done, like I says, you just need to have something pinned at the top of your profile that tells me where you came from, what the journey's been like, and what you're doing to help people. Bang, pin it to number 1, and it needs to be something just about coaching. It needs to be, who the fuck are you? And tell me where it started. And as you say, man, like FORTIFIED, built from broken, like in the depths of despair, and then obviously rebuilding that, and then obviously what you're doing to help people. That should be there for most people. So I've helped a few coaches where I've actually had to go and write it for them and told them to either do it as a voiceover or a carousel post. And the ones I actually done it with, they're post blew up because people seen it as relatable, because they see the start of the journey, and anybody that's reading that for will be or fail, like, I've been through that, to the point it gets to the end and they're like, as you say, an authority, I'm a coach, this is my programme, this is what I do to help people. You're more likely going to have more people following you, connecting with you and trusting you. But the more you just kind of present yourself as the PT, the authority, the how-to exercises, the more people start to switch off. Everything just sounds like a paid ad.
And there's a lot of them about it.
And it's heartbreaking because I can see the effort they're putting in, but I'm just trying to get them to put their own personal touch on it, because that's what's relatable. And especially if you're a coach, most people, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and you probably know this as well, we're not trying to appeal to everybody, but as long as you're true to yourself and you're true to your values, you're going to attract the right people. And that's what I try and say to most of these coaches, is just give me something that I don't know about you. And I know you're a PT because it says it in your bio, so I should know before I even sign up with you know how to teach me how to do deadlifts. And I'd hate if I was just that person that spoke about generic coaching content all day. Like, listen guys, today I'm going to take you through the biomechanics of a deadlift. See, if I died tomorrow, I'd hate for somebody to go, oh, I missed that guy, man. Maybe he taught me how to do a deadlift. I don't want to be remembered for that. I'd want to be remembered for the impact I have in somebody's life. Remember the conversations I had with him. I remember that time I came into my 6 AM session, man, and I was up all night with my suicidal thoughts, and he took me out for breakfast after it and sat with me for about 3-4 hours until I was alright. Done that with so many clients that have come in with similar experiences to me, and I've shared mine back. Remember I had one, I won't say her name, but she came in 6 o'clock on a Thursday, and I was like, what's happening? She seemed dead down. She was like, nothing. I was like, doesn't feel like nothing. And then she started greeting, and I was just getting her a hug, and I was like, what's up? And she was like, just up all night. And I was like, up all night with that? And she was like, didn't want to be here. So you're up all night thinking about not want to be here? She says, aye. I'm going through the session, like the saddest session I've ever done, man. And then after that, I'm like, what are you doing after this? She's like, nothing. I was like, we're just going to go home and feel how you're feeling. She went, maybe. I was like, I'm going to go for breakfast at 9 o'clock. I said to go back home and sort the dugout. I said, do you want to come? I said, we'll go for breakfast and a coffee. No, that's alright. And I was like, I'm going to ask you again. Do you want to come? I'm like, aye, it's sound. So I went back, sorted up, picked her up, took her back, spent 3 hours with each other. Before you know it, man, she started being a wee bit chirpy, feeling better. I was listening to her about sharing experience, but I was also joking as well, making her feel comfortable with what she's actually gone through, and it's normal to feel like that. And slowly but surely she started to feel better. And then being there comfortable every time she's having moments like that, being able to reach out and ask for help. It's alright to feel down, man, but see, the more you ask for help, and that's the position we see ourselves in as coaches. It's like, we're not bringing you in to fucking change your life, we just want you to be aware of what you're actually struggling with, and we'll let you know if we can help you or not. And then if we can, you might need outside, you might need doctors along with this programme as well. But as long as people get into the habit of recognising their struggles and what it is they actually need help with. Because we'll have it day calls all the time where you think, I think this guy actually just wanted to talk to me rather than sign up for my programme.
A lot of them.
And that's fine, that's normal. But then when you say what coaching actually is this is coaching. Having conversations. Some days I'll come in and trauma dump on my clients, I'm like, fuck, she's paying me 165 quid a month. And I've just dumped all my relationship stuff on her. But it's a two-way street sometimes. You're only ever going to share an experience as a coach, and I think that shows in your marketing, and it shows in your values and your message. You've got a strong message. I mean, a fortified man, and the next generation that's coming through here, you're just kind of giving them that encouragement, that guidance, that support, that accountability. And if you bring all that together, like, they're just going to skyrocket to the moon, man.
God willing, bro. God willing.
And that's motivating, and it's good to see.
God willing, bro. I appreciate that. For you, bro, you said you're going to go in your camper van, you're going to travel for a few months. What's after that?
Yeah, setting up my own gym.
Nice.
We're in the process of doing stuff now. Ideally we thought we'd have had it done before Christmas, but we've just had to jump through a lot of hurdles in it. Having issues with my business account getting set up, and then with the premises that we actually secured. We're still in tit for tat negotiations. There's a lot of work done here.
In Maryhill?
In Maryhill, man. Just at Postal Road.
Brilliant.
So just before you get to the town, just there. 4,700 square feet. Brilliant. So there's a lot we can do with it, and there's a lot of money going to go into it, and it's me and Brian. So Brian currently manages my online side of stuff. That's just a wee bit of side money. But works full time in insurance as well as another job, and he's a dad. So he's got a lot going on now, but the goal was he's currently going through his certs now, so me and Brian are just going to go into this business 50-50. I'm going to mentor him with everything coaching. Obviously me and him will be doing the sessions, but then I'll slowly but surely be doing all the marketing, all the sales, and just try to grow the business and bring in the right people. But a small group PT with an open plan gym, but we're also want to just put a bit of community and a bit of recovery into it. So doing more like group stuff and taking people away and wee trips and just doing stuff for our members. We just don't want it to be like one of the generic commercial gyms where people rock up, pay their money, do their workout and fuck off.
Like a family.
We want to have an impact. We want to set the membership a wee bit affordable. But we're also going to have our wee things that we want to do, man.
Brilliant.
But it's the unknown. And we're doing it with investor money, not our own money. So it's having to make it work.
Well, you've got enough people that are kind of coming to you on your own thing, do you know what I mean? And it's going to start for that, but you also got people online with the book and that as well.
Grateful for this book. Struggled with it in the beginning. It's done its thing, and I'm fortunate enough that it's going to give me a few months off to focus on this stuff. So I was struggling big time there for financially for 3 months because of where my head was at. I was just taking a lot of people in. I just mentally couldn't deal with it. So financially I struggled through December and January there, and all my book money's coming in now and just kind of helped me pay my bills. So if God's not working through me, man, I don't know who is.
I'm pretty sure it is, mate.
Because I've never been in a situation since I've come home and been in recovery where I've not been able to pay my bills. I mean, I've got debts to like other things, but I'm able to live the day after what I'm doing, and I have financial insecurity a lot of times because I'm like, well, worried about this, worried about that, but no, I've never found myself in a situation where I've not been able to pay.
And what you're doing is, though, you're helping people, so you're financially earning, which is always important, but you're helping people with it as well.
I don't know, people maybe think because it would be there or some sort of high roller and all that, as if I fucking...
Definitely not.
It's the complete opposite. And I love that because you notice this as well, you've probably seen how hard working you've been without the finances. So we get to kind of realise that the money's actually not that important. It's about the work that you put in and the effort that you put in and the impact that you have that matters most, because things that make me smile today don't even fucking cost money. See, if I can get up early and make my coffee, like, I'm fucking buzzing. But I found myself where I've went out and bought fucking $1,000 on Clays and I came home and it's all sitting there and I'm like, fuck. Like, it didn't have the impact I thought it was. I was more busy fucking picking it up and putting it behind it and taking it home than I was actually fucking...
I'm not anti-money, mate. I said that. This is a new thing for the last few months. Especially, I'm anti-money, man. I don't know if I'm becoming a mad socialist or something.
No, but I think it's normal. I think because of what you've been through, what your mission is and what you're doing today is, we live in a society, mate, where it's money is like the centre of control, man. It's the devil's work. Everything's at some sort of cost, and then people associate it with success. So the more money you've got, the fancier the watch you've got, the bigger the house you've got, the flashier the motor you've got, then he's successful. But these are the sort of people that I see on their hands and knees in recovery that have got all this stuff and now they're fucking crawling through the doors going, I'm fucked, and it's like, fuck, he's one of the most successful people on paper. But mentally, emotionally, physically, he's on his arse. And that's where I see it today. And then by you implementing fortified stuff, make men fight again, just getting them moving, getting them talking, is more important than fucking going out there and trying to impress people that can, it's like chasing validation or the wrong places. That was me. And now it's like, I'm not looking for validation anymore, I'm looking more for connection. I just want to be around similar people to myself that if I'm not having a moment, they're just going to go, listen, Charlie, man, everything's going to be alright.
See the group that you had, are you still doing that? The Northman?
Northman project, but we're going to do, I think we're going to bring it back end of March, but we're not going to charge for it. I think we're just going to go have one big hurrah. We didn't really have anything to finish with. Like, we go like Stevie Way and Amanda.
Stevie's my pal.
Stevie's brilliant, so we got him to come and do an event, so we just collaborated it. And then it's funny, man, because they had a camper van, so they camped it the night before, so then we all rocked up. But there's so many people there, I think we had like 40 odd people. And we didn't make anything to it, anything that got made, we just gave them the money towards it. It was just more the experience. But the Northman project was set up, me and Brian were dead mindful. I was 6 months sober at the time. We just wanted to get people out. We didn't want to involve it with recovery. We just thought if people use it as a stepping stone to a meeting, then fair play. But we'd be mindful who was interacting with it, because we did have people going, is this like a sobriety thing? We went, no, it's a connection thing. Is it only for guys? No, it's for anybody. And then through that, we were just building all these relationships and connections, and people were coming, and people were like, oh, I can't run. And I was like, can you walk? No, we'll walk then. So we ended up having a wee walking track, and it was just half the distance. So it was like open to everybody. Anybody could come at any level, and we were just sharing a wee bit of our experience. So Brian would do like the meditation and the prayer, and then I would just be running about videoing and doing the marketing and taking the piss at people and having a laugh and all that. And I struggled sometimes when Brian wasn't there, so I'm like, fuck, I'm going to have to do the prayers and the meditation, and I didn't feel comfortable with that. But we're going to bring it back in March, but we're not going to charge it. And I think we used to charge a £5 for it. I think it was just to keep people accountable. If you're financially secure, then you're going to show up. I think we were just always worried that if we're there at 5:30, 6 in the morning, nobody shows up, then what was the point? But now I think what we'll do is we'll have a day one a month, and we'll just be completely free.
I think that changed a lot of people's lives, getting them together.
Getting them talking. I think especially since the book's been out now, and there'll be a lot more people that interact and talk to myself, but it'll be good to introduce everybody to Brian, because that book wouldn't exist without Brian. If it wasn't for the help he gave me and the encouragement, like, not a chance that would exist. That's why it's not just my story, it's everybody doing about me, it's their story, it's their book. My success isn't just tied to what I do, it's tied to like how I treat others, and I mean in my relationships, my family, and that's tough. I come from a big family, and we don't always like see eye to eye and stuff, and I'm just trying to be more patient, tolerant and kind. So I'm still dead reactive. I mean, I had wee issues with, like my ma last year had bowel cancer, and she was getting a bowel removed, and I'm up visiting her, so I'm doing like a night shift. She's staying down, but she's in Glasgow at this point, so I'm doing 8 to 12, so 8 to midnight, like every day until she got out. And I gave her like the first ever copy of my book, and then she read it in hospital, and we sat like for hours, and she was talking about me as a Wayne and all that, and it was so in depth, and it was beautiful as well. But there was also a lot of pain there for both ends, stuff that I didn't agree with her and stuff that she didn't agree with me, and I don't get on with, I don't really have, I love my brother to bits, but we don't have a relationship today, and that's heartbreaking, because I've spoke about him in my book, and it was a big part of me moving forward in my life, especially when I felt suicidal, and that phone call just it changed everything. But we don't have a relationship really today, and it's because I owe money, but I'm paying them back every month, but I feel there's a wee bit of a resentment between us, and I was just opening up to my ma about that, but my ma took a side, and I struggled with it, and I just went mental in our wee room. She's in there, man, just been through a traumatic experience where she's had her stomach removed and fitted with a wee bag. Like, her whole life has changed. How she actually fucking processes food now is completely different, and I couldn't stand something that she says to me, and I went off my fucking heat. I wanted to smash a room up. I was ready to like throw my fucking heat through walls and all that, and I'm slamming doors in the hospital, and then stormed it. And then having to go back up the next day and say sorry and all that, and get a kiss and a cuddle and going, I'm fucking so sorry. Like, that's me sober. I mean, so I've still got a lot of underlying issues, and I when anybody messages me and stuff I've gone through, I identify with it straight away, because sometimes I'm still there. And I'm trying my hardest, but I'm still dead reactive to life. So I'm in the habit of, not anymore, but I was always in the habit of destroying relationships, whether it be with a family member or somebody I was actually seeing, just through my immediate activity. I don't like what youth says.
What?
You know what I mean? That's how I would be.
Somebody says that.
Aye, so I don't like what youth says.
You're aware of it, aren't you?
Aye.
You're aware of it?
I think that's what it is. It's emotional awareness, and then there's emotional intelligence. I've got that one tiny aspect of what emotional intelligence actually is. I'm aware of my behaviour today, but I'm still at a point where I process it differently. I feel like emotional intelligent people, or maybe somebody similar to yourself, so you can say, like, you can talk about stuff and you can put a handle on things and alright, I know if I can play that out, and it's like I'd say you're emotionally intelligent, because you've not just got the state of awareness, you've got you've got the tools to actually deal with it as well. Whereas me, I'm aware of my behaviour. This is, I feel like a lot of addicts and alcoholics are like this. It's like, we know right for wrong, but we're still going to bear the wrong in. It's like playing it out. It's insanity. It's like playing it out, knowing what's going to happen and still doing it anyway. And that's alcoholics and addicts as a whole. So every time somebody goes, you relapsed on it, and they're like, the judgement's going to happen.
I have been there. I've been there to work on that a lot, you know what I mean? I was in jail, obviously. What to think about all the reactions that I'd done that were wrong. I used to fly a fan to everybody, loved ones, families, my missus, my pals. But now I don't as much. I don't think I have since I've come to jail.
When was it you got out of jail?
April 2024.
This is fresh, man. I'm thinking like years ago.
No, April 2024.
Jesus Christ.
Mad. And I'm not proud. I'm pleased with who I am.
Mate, see if this is like you in such a short period of time, like, I'm just excited to see what the next few years are going to be like for you. No, you won't. That's my experience. I ride the high, and then in my head I'm already planning going down. But with you, it feels like you've stabilised stuff. I feel like you're no sitting up here and trying to fucking manage everything. You're bringing round the right people.
I think I'm still on the first few steps of the ladder for what my life is going to be. You know what I mean? And I'm finally filling up to that potential that I should always have had. When I was younger, I didn't do it. Do you know what I mean? Maybe because I was scared of maybe doing well as well. You said maybe the negatives there and you're scared of the positive.
What was it you came for?
Where? I'm from Uddingston. I always went about the East End. I used to hang up in Mary Hill for a wee bit. I used to hang up Postal for a wee bit as well. My upbringing was good, mate, but I came for we was brought home. My mum moved to Denison, and then I moved there when I was young, and when I was like 12 or something like that. They're for the East End originally. I fell out with mama, and I just walked from Denison to Uddingston. Fucking chat my dad's door and just started living with him. But my dad had another family in another part of Lisbon, so I was just myself all the time, if I was a wee boy, you know what I mean?
So you've got these other siblings, other relationships and all that?
They're lovely. But I was kind of myself all the time, and my dad's house is in the middle of nowhere, so I'd pals and that I don't hang about with, you're on your Todd a lot, which was mad. But that's that. My upbringing wasn't rough and all that. The addictions and that in my family and stuff like that, you know what I mean? 100%, mate. Still to this day, bad addiction. But you just need to go on with it, do you know what I mean?
I'm similar to yourself, so my dad's got me and Christopher in Cairns, but Cairns for another relationship, and then my dad and my mum had Nicola for another relationship. So I think Nicola would have been about 7 at the time when my dad moved in, but Nicola's dad was in prison at the time, and then he was murdered in prison. And then my dad's obviously been like that father figure in her life, but then Karen and Nicola's exact same age, went to the exact same school for different relationships. So we grew up in like a weird situation, but still dead close, I mean. Apart from like my mum and my sister, they've no spoke to my dad in like since I was 8.
So
fucking 29 years or something. They've no other word to each other. But I've got a good relationship with all my siblings. And I've got a stepsister and a stepbrother. They're like my...
of course.
They're like my real brother and sister. I don't see them any other way.
I'm not mega close to everyone. I'm close to my wee brother, he lives in Portugal, close to my sisters. I've got a wee sister that's 2 days younger than me. Born in the same hospital, 2 different ones. My dad was going one way and up there visiting him.
Some man.
My dad's great, right? My dad's a really good guy, man. Really good guy. He overcame addiction, became teetotal about mid-30s.
Is that recovery?
Just
He's chucked it in a cot. That's impressive.
Really impressive.
So my dad's also, he's like 13 years sober, but my dad was, it's generation on it, so my granddad died an alcoholic, and then I'm sure his dad was an alcoholic and died, and then my dad was a bit of a boy for Mary Hill. I mean, all his mates were all like...
My dad as well.
Like who you would read about, like gangsters in the paper and all that, and people but my dad could fight. And that was, but it was also, I think my dad was one of these people that demanded love and fear, so it was dead conflicting. So it's like you want people to love you, but you also want people to fear you. It was like a weird one. So he would always end up always saying and he'd done the taxis, which didn't help. So some drunk getting on cheek, somebody didn't want to pay, he just lay on people. And then he worked in the pubs as an entertainer, somebody getting on cheeks, they think, oh, he's just some mad daft singer. And he's lay on him. That was just, my dad was just for, probably the apple doesn't fall too far for the tree, but I'm dead reactive to life, so I can see my dad's experiences when he talks about growing up and where he came from and what he done. But I didn't have a relationship with my dad growing up. It was more like I feared him because of who he was. And he was a big guy and I was terrified of him and I just wouldn't even fucking dare say anything back to him, but I always got myself into trouble and he's like fucking slaps across the head and all that. But well, we're at the day because he has got recovery in his life. I was up with Saturday day, man. I was just like talking like this, having heart to heart for about 2 hours. Talked about life, recovery, emotions, thoughts, feelings, having a wee bit of a laugh, taking the piss, and then up the road.
Aye.
And I was like, that's mad.
It's mad the conversation you have with your dad as an older man. But me as a father, I can speak to my dad about fatherhood, which is mad as well, because you're speaking to your dad about what you're doing and he was also your dad. It's a mad thing that, fuck, I'm blessed with a big family, man. We're not all like mega close. I'm quite...
It's unconditional.
It's unconditional love, do you know what I mean? We're always there for each other, but I've got my wee family now that I need to put a lot of focus and attention on, do you know what I mean? I've got 3 kids. So I need to be with the 3 kids.
How old's your wings?
13, 9 and 4.
Wow, man, so you're a teenager as well.
Nah, I just turned. She's brilliant, man. They were in Portugal, my wee boy's born in Portugal. And the other 2 were at school in Portugal, so they're fluent Portuguese as well. Maybe God willing we'll go back there as well, bro. Aye. That's the plan. Yeah.
Once the dust settles and...
Once everything's been happening...
Would you do something like this out there?
Maybe. I'm not talking about the next 5 years, I'm talking about later on in life. Because I feel as if I've got a home there as well, you know. I've got a home there in a different way. I feel peace. I feel just...
Connected.
Very connected to there. More so than here.
Australia felt that. Well, Sydney especially felt like that for me. And I think it was because I experienced so much earlier. Experienced a lot, man. And a relationship I was in there that just broke me. I had a lot of stuff similar to what I had here. I had heartbreak and all that, and I had fear of the unknown and what was going to happen. And then I built a lot of good relationships out there, and a lot of people are still out there that I grew up with. We all went backpacking with each other, and we all travelled with each other, and all settled down and had their own weddings and all that. A couple of them were getting married in March.
So
it's like I see all the wee lives for a distance as well. They still message me and text me and talk. I love that. So it's like I feel connected, but I know for a fact I'm never going to go back.
I don't know, a guy in Portugal said this to me the other month, we're not trees, we can move. Like, we don't have to stick as well, do you know what I mean? There's no, because you're from Glasgow, you need to stick in Glasgow. I've lived a lot of places, I'm a bit of a nomad, do you know what I mean? And I see myself, after all everything's settled here, maybe get myself about a wee bit, maybe in the Middle East for a wee bit, Dubai again, maybe. I'm going to Saudi in 2 weeks. For 10 days, and I bet I go there and go, fuck, I want to move here, do you know what I mean?
That's it, you get excited when you go new places, and I think that's normal.
And that escapism that you're talking about, I used to travel a lot, holiday and that, fuck it, right, let's look at apartments here, I just used to like to get away, you know what I mean? Bro, that was very engaging, very emotional, best podcast I've ever done, a guest of another. I really enjoyed that, and I love to continue the relationship with you.
Definitely, mate.
I learned a lot about myself talking to you. I feel as if I've got a lot to work on as well, talking to you, which is great. It's always a good test for somebody to pull that out of me, because they don't often, not everybody pulls that out of me. Speak to whoever's listening, and if you've got something to say to them, say it.
I don't even know, man. But for anybody that's watched it, I know I spoke about addiction, thoughts, feelings and emotions. I can only share an experience. People can take their land for that. My book's not a self-help book. I've had a lot of people messaging me thinking it is that. But all I've done is share an experience, my strength, my hope, and what I'd want for anybody to take for that, or even this conversation, is the journey's not done yet, man. Just keep going.
Powerful. Thank you so much.
No, I
I
appreciate
really
it.
fucking enjoyed that.
It's
Guys,
class,
Chad Cairns, Running From Me on Amazon. What a brilliant book, and I'm telling you, it will change your life in a little bit, promise you.
Yeah.
Thanks.